All right, and like that, we're back with another Unpacked presented to you by the To Be Fair Show and
the G Shit Podcast.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
All right, y'all see the title? It's another good one, another fun one. We're gonna dip our toe into the quote unquote diaspora war conversation a little bit. G triggered the Discord. This is a shout out also to the Discord. Make sure y'all join. I'll put the link to the Discord in the chat. Not the chat, in the description. Fair warning, the unfiltered part it get turned in there, but nonetheless, this made it out the Discord. Comparing Black Americans to Black immigrants. Who's in better quote unquote pole position? Who has more privilege? Is it easier to be successful being one or the other? It's typically, it's often compared the success rate of how Black immigrants are doing to the average or to, successful Black Americans. Is this a fair comparison? We're going to dive into it. But before then, y'all see the panel. We got 4 out of 5 here. Top G, talk to him.
What's good, everybody? G, host of the G Shit Podcast, where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and fuck everything else. Check it out wherever you get your podcast. Just search GSHPOD. Ha.
All right, below him, y'all see him, y'all know him, the mayor of Charlotte. Hey, Black TV, talk to him.
What's up, everybody, man? Happy to be here another Wednesday. Been a wild week, and we're gonna have a good conversation today. There's a lot going on in the world, in sports.
Man.
So yeah, let's get it.
Man.
Oh,
yeah, it is.
Orange and blue skies.
Before we get to there, J-Rock, Johnny, third of the To Be Fair Show, host of the To Be Fair Show. Johnny, what's going on, brother?
What up, family, man? Glad to be back. Definitely looking forward to a great discussion. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the Discord. Y'all tap in. Let's get it.
All right, so we got a couple icebreakers, but A Black kind of started one just now, which, fellas, we've kind of all been tuned into the playoffs. We've been talking a little shit back and forth in the chat. There's some top teams that have just dropped 0-2. There's some top teams that's been eliminated. Right now, and if y'all had to say, as shaky as things are looking, who y'all got going to the finals? G, talk to me. Who coming out the East?
Man, out the East is looking. Because the truth of the matter is the Celtics can still rip off 4 straight against the Knicks, and I wouldn't be surprised. And so,
they lost.
Yeah, they lost. They down 0-2, my brother.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So look, right now out the East, funny enough, man, out the East, if I had to bet money, I still would bet on the Celtics at this very moment. If I had to bet this very moment, I bet on the Celtics. And then out the West, Golden State looked tough, man. I know Steph got the hamstring. He out indefinitely. So that's kind of interesting there. So, the hammies is a little, pause. Got to be careful with the hammies. But
they're going to sit him at least to game 3. Maybe.
If Steph is out for a prolonged period, I'm going to bet on the Joker. Joker going to take that thing, man. He looked.
All right, so you got Boston and Denver
right now.
Real quick before we move on. So are you seeing why Tatum is not marketable?
Yeah, I have to say this was not a marketable performance.
Yeah, it's 2 in a row at the buzzer. My dog getting his shit beat by Pauls.
Hey, yo.
By Miles Bridges. But yeah, A Black, talk to us.
Not
Who
good.
you got?
Yeah, man. If we get Steph back, I'm going with the Warriors in the West.
Okay.
I do think that they, even if he rests, I think they can beat the Timberwolves without Steph. I think they just got to activate Jimmy and it become Jimmy team, and we know what Jimmy can do. We've seen him do less in Miami and still take teams, and I think.
Wait, before you move on, Anthony Edwards overrated?
I ain't gonna say overrated. I was just talking junk, but I do think I do think he ain't arrived fully like a lot of people kind of pushing him to. And these kind of last couple games, you know, he been kind of getting bailed out by his team, and I think Golden State might expose him. He might have kind of bit off. See, he been doing a lot of talking and stuff. You know, I like it. It's confident, but you know, also you got to win something. I feel like to get to talking. He said something about Draymond talking too much, and like Draymond got 4 rings. He can talk, you know. So I see him. It's gonna be the Warriors or the Nuggets coming out the West. If we get Steph back, I'm going with the Warriors. I think the Warriors can beat anybody at their top speed. And the East is wide open right now. It's been like so many like last minute wins with Indiana.
It's been 2
with the Halliburton.
With the Halliburton. Yeah.
But I think New York can beat the Celtics. I think they might have took the Celtics hard tonight because they done got 2 in Boston. I think.
Yeah, all they need is 1 inside in New York.
You know, you got 2 in their home court.
Boston good on the road though. Boston better on the road.
They are a better road team.
I know, but now their confidence, I feel like, is a little shaken because now you playing from behind. Now you got to win 4, and the other team got to win 2. So, I mean,
being front runners.
You know, you got that confidence in New York. I like New York, but I can't really tell in the East. But I do like New York as my favorite team in the East right now. Indiana had some exciting moments. Cavaliers kind of boring to me. So yeah, I'm gonna go
without Darius Garland. I don't think it's gonna work. It's gonna work itself out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with New York in the East and the Warriors in the West.
All right, Johnny, you was just telling me how Anthony Edwards was putting goat heads on the mantle.
No, I wouldn't say that. That wasn't you. No, I ain't saying that. I ain't say such things. Hey, but shout out to the boy though. He a baller though. He a dog. He got that in him. So I ain't gonna hate on him. I like that. I like him. But I'm gonna go West. I'm gonna start out West. I'm pretty much what everybody say, depending on the hammy. Like you know, if Steph hurt, I'm going Denver. You know, they got that championship pedigree. OKC
nobody believe in the young boys.
They gonna choke.
Did you see the Joker game 1?
Oh no, I seen it. 40,
not even the Joker. Have y'all seen how your boy Aaron Gordon been playing?
True.
Championship ball player. Right.
I got to see this next game.
But so yeah, give me the Warriors though. The asterisk is the hammy. Then I'm going Denver. But give me Warriors, and then out the East, yeah, y'all gonna like this one, Indiana.
Oh,
Haley Burton is he
New York, Indy. He could squeeze it out.
I ain't. Cleveland hurt.
It's a hot take.
Cleveland hurt, and I just came up with it. I watched Cleveland hurt, and I think that boy
and Mitchell hurt too. Now at this point,
for real?
He looked limpy at the end of the game.
They ain't say nothing, but yeah, he a little slow. But yeah, I like the way Indiana. I like the way they have they got a killer, and I like Jalen Brunson, but I think Indiana's just cooking with grease right now. So give me Indiana. Give me the Warriors. Warriors win it all. Shout out that boy Steph.
Got you. Yeah, I guess I ain't deterring too far off the path. Denver, if Steph's hammy is messed up, if his hammy's good, I'm going Warriors. Out the East, damn, it's hard to count Boston out. I think they might still pull it out in 7. Rematch, Boston, Golden State. Steph get that next one. We got to enter him into that GOAT conversation. Top 3, top 4. That's all I'm saying.
I've been screaming it. He get one more. He there.
I think we might be all in consensus here. All right. So, Black, I'm gonna toss this one to you. I know you said you wanted to talk a little bit more about centers. We didn't do it quite justice last week. G has also
I checked it out.
Went to go see, and so now you can kind of input a little bit. I guess toss to whatever you kind of want to talk about.
Oh, with Sinners.
Yeah, Sinners.
Yeah, I just felt like we didn't get to go like in depth about what we felt about the acting. So everybody's seen it now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
I guess you
at
got to
this
throw that out
point,
there. I say this
Yeah,
is easily Marcus B. Jordan's best acting job in the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, very easily.
It's one of the best. It's one of the best acting I've seen in a movie in a long time. Just the way they.
I had to think about that.
Yeah,
But
the
twin element. The twin element.
No, the way you have to play every scene twice.
The twin element is
insane.
Yeah, he did it very. Pause. Yeah, he did it very well.
Yeah. Not the fact that he played both characters and the fact that both characters had so much depth to them is what I think is what is going to win, because you played two roles and like both characters had their development. They both had and they was distinct. And I think he did a good job of like playing two different characters in one. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I think Michael B definitely stepped it up acting wise, and I think that's also a credit to Coogler's direction. You only as I feel like directors are real underrated as far as like what they can bring out of an actor, and I think you kind of seeing their synergy. They kind of like, I feel like the new Spike and Denzel type tandem. With their movies and stuff.
Yeah, they got like 4. Is it 4 together?
Yeah, Fruitville, the Creed joints.
Fruitville. Oh shit!
Damn, it's like
I forgot he
Black
did.
Panther.
Black Panther.
Yeah,
so
I forgot he did Fruitville.
They got a synergy for sure. I've been watching a lot of the interviews and kind of so. I don't know if y'all remember the scene where they was driving down the road, and I think what's his name, the older actor.
Yeah, he kind of took his story and turned it into a harmony.
Yeah.
Is that what you
name?
Dang, it's on the tip of my tongue. Y'all know.
You talking about the old nigga that was playing the piano and shit.
Oh, I forgot his name. Yeah,
come on, that old nigga.
Yeah, Bus Roy something. Anyway,
I forgot what else he been in, but yeah,
he was being interviewed. Yeah. So he was being interviewed, and they asked about that scene. When they riding down the road, and he's like in the car seat telling the story, and he was talking about how that whole scene was like improv, which made me kind of want to go back and watch it again, but it was like something completely different. So he improv like the singing and everything, and like Michael B. Jordan just kind of went off of him.
Oh, that's dope.
And if you remember, the kid in the back with the banjo was quiet the whole time. And they were saying that he didn't kind of really know what to do. And like in the scene, Michael B like looked back like, boy, you got that good banjo type thing. And he's saying that whole thing was improv, and that Coogler had kind of just let the camera roll, and they kept that. And I just thought that was dope because it was kind of such a natural scene. And it was like, that he was a younger actor, so he didn't know that they was kind of going off and doing their own thing. So
he's actually a musician too.
Yeah, he's a musician too.
And they said that's his first role.
Yeah, his first,
which is insane to start.
He came off like a musician to me. Like his voice was too real.
Insane for that to be your first role. Like kudos to him. He had no clue that was his first like gig like that. He did great. I also like the Coogler thing. I think that's important for like black actors, like you say, the Denzel Spike Lee thing. I think like when it comes to like a lot of these black stories, like having like great black directors and black actors help make the stories more authentic. And I think that's why you've seen a lot of these movies recently between him and the Jordan Peele, those black directors are making these black stories hit and they really hit very close to home because the direction is very genuine and authentic and relatable.
And
not to deter too far off the path, but really quickly, I'm sure everybody's seen the previews before the movie. Jordan Peele got another one coming. Good.
Him. Yeah.
That one's gonna be special.
It ain't coming out till September, so
it's perfect because it's started football season.
Yeah,
but like him, like just the tropes that he was playing along inside that, I'm like, if he pulls it off, it's gonna be one of those ones in my opinion. But G, Talk to us.
Hey, I got another one after this though.
So I got like a statement and basically two questions about the movie to the group that I was kind of thinking about. Statement one is just like, I don't know why niggas feel bad for Perlene. She was a hoe. She out here sliding on her husband.
Which one
in
is
the juke
Perlene?
joint?
Oh.
One that they met at the train station and she came to the juke joint. Like, so she out here sliding on her husband.
Not the white one, but the black one.
Yeah,
but did she really have a husband, or was she lying just to play with him?
Yeah, she said she did. So as far as I know, she a hoe, bro. She don't deserve no like respect, no sort of like mantle to say like Perlene.
Damn, hoes gotta die. That's crazy.
So like the big thick one, she had a husband.
That's what you feed the vampires first. Them thirsty hoes, man. Let them go out there, drain that blood out of them. But that's that. The other. So the two things that I want to hear y'all take on is one. I'll throw both of them out there and then you can go from there. But one is what y'all think about the Chinese lady just like inviting the niggas in? Like, what's y'all thoughts on that? And then what do y'all think about the fact that the vampires were Irish? Like, what do y'all think about like that element?
Let me go. I think the Irish thing came from because I heard somebody saying this recently about how like the Irish created like the banjo. And so I think that was big in their culture. It's wrong, but there's a reason why those Irish people had the banjos, because I think that's a trope, a stereotype that was getting played on.
They do have a stereotype in terms of like culture, music, the dance. Like they went up that scene where they did the little. Yeah. Like they have a sound.
Like they have a music. The music is part of their culture in a way as well, and I think that's where.
But what about like them specifically being vampires though? Like the vampires were Irish. Like
when they said they was Irish,
you didn't pick up on that.
I mean, I know they was white, but I didn't know it was like
the whole culture. The whole culture. All that shit is Irish, nigga.
But like I think there's a symbolism though.
They said Dublin, like the whole thing, that scene where they were doing that round and round and shit, like all that was like Irish folk music.
But let's see, I think there's like even a symbolism in that, because like a lot of the Irish people, when they migrated over here, the rest of the white people looked at them, you know, as second-class citizens, and then I think that might be a symbolism as to like how they ended up treating black people, and like I think there's something in that. I
think it's even deeper than that. I think it's even deeper than that, but I think we get into the more of like the nuance of them being Irish.
I think like the Irish, like you said, they were second-class citizens for a certain amount of time, especially in the South during slavery. They would, a lot of them were sharecroppers too. And so the couple who was secretly KKK, you know, they were Irish. And so that makes sense, like contextually in that area, that the white people will be Irish. But I think the vampire who came, I think he just acted like whatever he needed to be wherever he went. So he as he's white, he's like, all right, y'all white Irish, then I'll blend in Irish. And if we come into these black people, they would be the closest white people that they would accept, because those are the ones that they know. But I think in general, they were just like a representation of, you know, white supremacy as a whole. And, you know, the whole concept was, it's like, you know, white supremacy can't survive. You can't have colonization without black people inviting you into your culture, without Africans inviting you into your lands. And they can't survive without sucking the life out of these cultures, you know. So you got all the cultures represented in the juke joint. You got the Asians, you got the Native Americans who was chasing them, you got the black people, and then you got these white people that's like are trying to get invited in. They're trying to play your music, they're trying to be cool with you and be your friend and stuff and get in the same time. And where you at the juke joint, the further you stray, you got the church motif with the preacher boy leaving the church. The further you stray from God, the more susceptible you are to being influenced by these vampires and stuff. So at the juke joint, you know, people drinking, people's awareness is not there. They walking outside in the woods, but it was all these different layers of like, all right, he's leaving the church, you know, he's choosing the banjo over God. He's choosing this secular world over God, and he's becoming more susceptible to demons, because the power of music is it can be good, it can be bad, depending on how you use it. And the powerful people, the griots, all the layers of people they show throughout history have the power to influence culture. And that's what kind of drew in the vampires. But they can't kill you, they can't take your culture unless you invite them in. Like, and that's why I think the vampire metaphor was used. It's like we become our own downfall. We always are trying to be cool with them. We get light-skinned girls or mixed girls who think that they're close to whiteness. So go outside. I can go out and I can negotiate with them. I'm light-skinned. I kind of know them. And there's their safety level. So she was able to come back in because, like, all right, we know her. But she was the one that kind of set it off. When the light-skinned girl goes outside, she get bit. Now she come in, she bite one of the twins, and then it just a whole domino.
I'm saying, but here's where the crux of the conversation is that, like, you could blame her, but is it on the twin? That was stacked, right?
Yeah, that's why I say it come back to us. You know, like he knew from the beginning, even before she was a vampire, that I got to stay away from you. You know,
well,
and that's that whole thing. Is like it's nothing but trouble go come from us dealing with each other.
I ain't gonna leave till you do it again.
Yeah, and so
it's like, something about them white women, right, Johnny?
If he wasn't fucking with those girls,
all I'm gonna say like this: if mine go outside, she ain't coming back in. She ain't coming back in. Like that's
the whites can survive.
But no, that was the theme of the movie though. It's like you sent them out, and she came back with that shit and started biting people. But if she would have stayed, it would have been cool, and she wouldn't have got them. But the sending them out and bringing them back in is what kind of fucked it up.
To me, something that I took from it was, especially when you look at it inside like the musical aspect, I thought that there was interesting parallels between like the Jewish relationship with Black people, and music, and just how, even if you think about like how close, like you look at the civil rights movement, there's a lot of Jewish people there, that got real close to the culture and then exploited it. You look at the music industry, it's a lot of Jewish people that are quote unquote at the top of these at the top of the pyramid, and that's pushing the buttons. We often quote a bunch of these music industry executives' names, and I thought that the whole idea of whether you want to go to the whole invite them in, the whole part with the vampire is speaking about, I just want to get, I want to bite, or I want to turn you into a vampire so I can take all of your talent, pretty much. I just thought it was like an interesting parallel that, to me, especially when you introduce music, you can draw really interesting parallels.
And then you got the ending.
Oh,
go.
I know. I just want to touch on what G was saying about like the Chinese influence though. And if you look back in like Mississippi at that time, like there was a culture of like having the Chinese grocery stores and a lot of Black people shopping at the Chinese people owned that store, and that was actually a real thing in a lot of these rural Mississippi, Alabama places.
Yeah,
where these Chinese people
that was another conversation.
Served the benefit, and I think they did a good job of like representing that. But there's also a bit of exploitation that come in on the back end where he went outside, and when he came back, he was infected with the vampire also, and it was a choice, that the wife had to make. And I think that's a lot.
So what you think about that choice is the question. Like the Chinese, when she was like invited everybody in and all hell broke loose, because at the end of the day they could have just chilled in there until the sun came up. They could.
And it would have been cool. But and because it's been a couple weeks since I've seen it, so she invited everybody, but she was the one saying
she the one that was like, nah, forget this. Basically a suicide mission. She put the vest on and was like, I don't care about what none of y'all got planned.
But she had to get back to her kids, so I think her mission was a little different.
But also when she said
her kids,
but my question is, she's the only one. She went rogue. like you working as a team against some fucking vampires. And then this bitch goes, nah, fuck that, let them in. And now it's no plan now. It's all over now. It's like, now we just...
But even when she said
her
that...
kids was involved, like, I don't know if it was more about race or more about her kids, because they played on both of those things.
I'm not saying... I'm asking, what do you think about the fact the bitch said, let them in, is my question. You think it's justified? You think she deserved to be...
I think they played on the emotional...
That?
I think they played on that emotional tug of, like, I'm going to go get your kids.
So you think it was justified?
Well, she cracked. I ain't saying it's justified, but she cracked.
But I don't think she thinks she literally invited them in when she said that. Like if you saw like the vampire from afar, he kind of like heard it from a distance, and you know her wording wasn't like, "All right, invite y'all in or come on in." She was just on some like, nah, fuck it, like let them in. But even that was an invite, but I don't think she meant it as a literal invite when she said it. I think she was emotional. I think she was emotional and she was just talking shit. But that kind of
why did they try to? So then, why did they do their best to try and silence her before she said it?
Because she was on that level, but I think even when she said it at that point, that the intention wasn't like a literal invite in. That she was saying it to them like, "Nah, let them in," type shit. We got all this shit to fight them, but I don't think she knew that they can hear her, and it was
she did, bro. Like I can't give you that. She definitely knew what she was doing.
I was mad as hell too.
She knew what she was doing.
She knew what she was doing, but at the same
conscious.
time, I just don't think that it was a literal invite that she intended. Like I think it just like she fucked up with the words.
So you think it was an accident?
I do. I think she was emotional.
You don't think it was a suicide mission?
I agree with A Black. I think it was the emotions, like because like you say when they said we know your kids at that stove, like anybody is liable to crack when they.
Nigga, when it's vampires, we not thinking rationally no more. It's fucking vampires, nigga.
Exactly.
Like,
she wasn't thinking rationally.
But what I'm saying is like you talking about she had it like it's vampires. You talking about a kid? Like what is she gonna do?
Her kid. Like what you mean?
What is she gonna do to stop the vampire from getting the
somebody
kid?
said I'm gonna go. You wouldn't try,
nigga. A vampire? What you want me to? You want me to go out here and damn? Put the garlic around my neck? Like you want me to go out here and just like go out there?
Baby, I'm gonna see you on the other side. I ain't even gonna try. I ain't even gonna try.
Nigga, you gotta be strategic, my brother.
For all the people that didn't see the movie, I'm gonna try and move it to another space. Something that I did think that was interesting, and I'm gonna toss it to a conversation. Y'all said y'all want to get here, so I'm gonna try and take it here. I did think that it was interesting, Coogler's choice in the heroine in the movie, where this wasn't the classic person that you would think, right? Where you would either think it was going to be the light-skinned woman inside some shape or form. It was going to be like the skinny, dark-skinned woman. But the heroine, I think that's the proper way to say. She was a like I wouldn't say we're gonna use the words BBW. She was a BBW.
I think she's a realistic southern looking black woman.
No, I agree, but if we're talking Hollywood,
yeah.
Like typically they turn
yeah,
that
they didn't get her out of Hollywood.
Yeah, they typically turn that person like y'all seen what they did to
Halle Berry or somebody.
Yeah, y'all seen what they did to Nina Simone. Like they gonna turn her. They're gonna turn her real pretty. Yeah. And I thought that was interesting to where it seemed like actual representation. The picture did make it into the chat. And it led to an interesting conversation. I think that G might have affectionately named this immigrant kitty versus American born kitty. I'm gonna toss this out to y'all. I got us here. You said you wanted to talk about it. G, I'm gonna throw to you first, brother.
I already know where he goes.
I'm American. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
It's the question who got the best cat? Or are we talking about her acting? Or what's the question?
I can go to the screenshot. I went to the.
Yeah, Q trying to set me up, yo.
Y'all told me to bring this up.
That's why I just said I'm
wanted to make sure
American. I'm gonna leave it at that. The Q trying to set me up with the Okie doke, man.
I just wanted to make sure we got to the question that y'all asked me to get to.
But who's y'all? Who asked you to get?
Are we talking about the talents?
Yeah. Let's talk about the talents. There we go, Johnny.
So I guess what's been a lot of issues in a lot of predominantly black movies, I guess, is British actors getting roles and stuff. But I mean, a lot of them, because they don't really have a black Hollywood over there, they kind of get their start in theater, and their training is more intense for acting. And not only that, you having to train to do American accents, because inevitably you want to get in American movies, they are the most lucrative, so you are training another language, almost accents. And so I just think they got more rigorous acting training. And like most of the times, immigrants, you coming into a new space, sometimes you just work harder, you go harder. And so we've been seeing it consistently from Idris Elba to what's the dude? He was in Black Panther 2, Daniel Kaluuya or something like that.
You saying these niggas work harder than black actors?
No, I hold on.
I will say that we starting to see with the roles that they get in, that they might have a harder path to get that, which is making their acting skills to be better. Now it's black actors that we got our Denzels and Angela Bassett's and stuff, but the British actors are just kind of coming in and
you think they're getting those roles off of merit, like working harder is what you're saying.
Let me just add on to that. Let me just add, because I think what he's saying, I ain't gonna say it's working harder, but I think over there in Brit,
he said they work harder than blacks. Actors.
I'm trying to be the translator between the diaspora and but I think what it is, though, I think over there in Britain, I think there's more of a culture of going to the acting school, going through the theater, going through the opera, and actually doing the path, where over here as Americans, we like shortcuts. And like,
y'all serious?
I mean,
oh my God.
I'm not saying it's a shortcut, but I'm saying, like, acting, like how many people did you know growing up were actors?
Quite a few, actually.
I ain't know anybody who was into acting growing up. From my neighborhood, nobody from my school. I didn't know anybody that was black.
I know niggas doing Tubi movies right now for the love.
Well, okay, well, maybe it's different from what I don't know. Maybe it's different up there, but like in the country, niggas ain't really acting like that, and it ain't really like motherfuckers who try to do that. It's not really. You play football, you try to rap, and that's like the accepted hobbies. And
the niggas that acted were football players, by the way. It's like if coincidentally, it wasn't like
motherfuckers that I remember being in. Cause I work audio visual video. I used to do the sound. The niggas that I remember being acting, they ain't play football. Then boy, it was a clear distinction. And I think, and they wasn't the coolest motherfuckers in school. So I think it's just what we focus on, and I think our culture just doesn't focus on like acting the way that some people over there might do.
Damn, that's crazy.
I'm not saying that they work harder, but I think it's a more accepting culture of doing alternative things. Where in the black culture, if you're not rapping, playing football, doing that, people really, it's not as accepting on the mainstream.
If I was to throw to another, if not the last question dealing with sinners, what did y'all take of the natives' role inside the movie? If they came early, they gave the warning. They didn't want to listen. They got out. They seen, sun was falling. Was it some symbolism? I don't know. What is y'all thoughts?
Yeah, it's symbolism.
Yeah, they were
symbolism because if the it just goes to show, like, like they clearly knew certain things, and it's similar to like when Europeans arrive, they insisted on doing things their way versus listening to folks who already been here. So you're gonna get what comes with that. And so I think that to me is what it kind of represents. Is like, all right, well, you go your own way, God bless, but then along the way you get bit by that evil, and it over just took the culture essentially. But that's what I think it symbolized personally.
For me, it's like it goes back to spirituality again. What we know that Native Americans are big on their spiritual tip, and from that scene, they were clearly hunting him. They was up on it, but who the other spiritual person in the movie, the black woman, the witch doctor, she picked up on it too. So it seems like, those that, like I said, are closer to God, closer to their spiritual world, are able to kind of, see them more clearly to fight and defend them. And so they came to these white people's door. And then once again, at the moment, they would rather defend and protect the stranger because of whiteness versus somebody like trying to tell them the truth. In that moment, they chose whiteness and lost their life. But that's how safe white supremacy is. Like, they always choose each other, and they don't even know this man. He coming to their door burnt up, pulling out gold coins and shit.
Yeah.
And then here comes some Indians, and they didn't even know Indians was around, because he's like, oh, these people chasing me, and they were like, Indians? Ain't no Indians around here. And then here they come.
But there's something to that. It's what he said was, it's like, so basically when he landed, he referred to them as their real name. Was it Choctaw, something like that?
Yeah, Choctaw.
And then when he said it, the whites reacted in such a racist way. He switched his tone and then called them something different from there. So like,
he peeped their hoods in the back too.
Exactly. He saw the hoods. He heard how they responded, and then he shifted his pitch, if you will, so he could get in the house when he realized, like, oh, these motherfuckers are like this. But at the same time, I think the vampire doesn't like racists. Like, it's like a weird thing. It's like, that was the weirdest thing about the movie to me, was that he had the decency enough to refer to the Choctaw niggas as their name versus a slur, and then in a weird, evil way, he's trying to get all these people together. Like, it's very dark, but like, that is like an interesting part of the villain story. That is like, he's bringing all these people together, but in the name of evil, not necessarily in the name of the light.
It's still unity. It's still unity.
He did mention why too. He said that he don't like these people too because they burn his village. So
that's why I said the Irish. That's why I was like, the Irish thing is big, because that's what made me think the vampire himself was Irish, because the English, they colonized Ireland, like, I think 1200 somewhere in that range, like before America was even a thought. England had already colonized the Irish, caused famine, and like, the Irish do not
potato famine
at all. Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's the root of the vampire story, is like, dates back to that time on Ireland, and he just lived up until this point, from one generation to the next. Like, that's one of the things I was wondering, because the nigga kind of just fell out the sky low key.
You talking about like some type of retribution?
I'm wondering, because if that was my one kind of knock on the movie, was by the time the vampires got introduced, I was like, damn, I wish I could have got more vampires. Pause. But if
it don't seem like two different movies,
he kind of fell from the sky. He like, we didn't see them chasing him. It was almost like he kind of dropped and then stumbled into that house, and so it just made me wonder, like, did he fall from the sky? Did he get chased?
He can fly, but the sun was coming up. So
no, it was going down. It was going. That's the other part. Like, why was he out if the sun is going down, not up? Because the Indians was like, we gotta get up out of here because it's about to be sundown.
Yeah. They was hunting him, and so he was flying. And as you know, like vampire mythology, they only can fly for a certain length of time without feeding. So,
but how could he fly in the sun?
Yeah, if it was
the question.
But I think it was like the sun was going down.
But
it seemed like he was kind of burning.
That's why he was burning.
But he got burned the fuck up.
Shit, that's why he was burning. Oh,
yeah, he was in the sun.
He was definitely burning up. But I just feel like the way that he got burned on some rise, that he would have been in even worse shape trying to fly around and peek sun before the sun set.
I think because he's an older vampire, like we saw at the end, it take him longer to burn, so he probably can go in the sun for a little bit longer than the new ones, but not that long. He still needs to be invited in.
All right, I ain't know what the fuck.
I'm gonna have to see it again. I gotta say, man, can we just say shout out to the excellence of
this
the film?
Is a much watched twice.
It's for Hollywood. It's one of the best like superhero type movies I've seen in the last like 15, 20 years. If I'm being honest, like it was a great movie to watch. Thought pieces, conversation pieces, etc.
The symbolism
for the culture
insane on this for sure.
All right, so before we move on, A Black sent into the chat. I'm gonna push play on it.
Is calling out Hollywood for choosing Black British actors over Black American actors. Y'all, what's going on? It's unfair. That's what he says. So Loren sat down for an interview with Earn Your Leisure podcast, and he explained how hard it is for Black American actors to get work in Hollywood these days.
I feel like Hollywood believes there's more value in British Black actors than they do Black actors. And I think a part of it goes into that, they have an audience over there. So they translate internationally. Going back to that, what I think is, a hoax that we don't sell or we're not valuable. So I think they put that in the mix.
So you know what, he does have a point. Yeah, I think it's vice versa though. A lot of Black American actors are in Europe shooting for European shows as well.
Really? But you don't often see American actors doing British accents on British shows because it sounds like we're making fun of them when we do it.
I don't think they want us to. I think they want to have the American accent.
Yeah. And also too, when you come from abroad too, your range of accents tends to be bigger, so you get different roles with different variety.
Because when you come here with an accent, you try to order something from McDonald's.
This is a wild cast of people.
Can I order a big
Where did the braggness come from? But yeah, that was all Loren's part. I found that interesting. I remember that a while back when we talked about it.
And I guess like that I wish I had played that a little later because that does segue into the main conversation a little bit. But yeah, that was a crazy cast of people where it just kept adding more people that I'm like, why is this person here? The other girl that was talking, she's that's the girl that said that if a man wants to see you without your makeup on, that he can't keep up your lifestyle, so he must be broke. Like that's her. I'm like, yeah.
Brother,
it's just like a weird cast.
I think if a woman don't want to let you see her without makeup she can't keep up her looks.
She hurt.
Like if she can't keep up.
You going to bed with makeup on. You hurt.
You can't keep up the facade.
Right.
Yeah,
You
makeup
risk
plus,
my
man.
sheets and your skin. Like, nah, I'm all right.
You supposed to be fine without makeup. The makeup just a plus, but these chicks like think the makeup now is how they really look, and now like they do it everything.
A lot of girls don't even do makeup.
Now you whack. Now you insecure. Now you can't handle a woman. Now you broke because you don't like all that makeup. I'm like,
it's such a wild take. What if I just want to see what you actually look like?
What you look like? Why you want to see what I look like? You like, cause
I'm trying to go swimming next week, and I'm trying to see what's gonna get up out that pool.
Waterproof makeup.
Yeah. You 90s fine, man. All you need is some lip gloss, some damn eyebrow, and that go outside for some lotion. That's real fine. Like not
some lotion, some
contour. They doing costume makeup now. Like it's not even they drawing a whole face on there. It's crazy. And
they getting jawlines. They getting jawlines with makeup.
And then put a filter on top of that.
They be having new noses.
Like with the makeup, it's like damn.
They'll take an inch off their forehead too. Like,
it's like they should be drawing like to be that good with lines and shadows.
But
like
we can't talk about it though, because that's women's business. So we can't talk about.
I talk about shit now. Like
I talk about bad makeup. If I can see that little line, Or if I could, if your
Yeah,
neck is
I
different
talked about
color,
the niggas drawing in their hairlines and Beijings and shit.
Beijing, yeah, hey.
I hope nobody ain't got that on here. My bad, but like,
Nah, I ain't got no Beijing.
I'm bald.
Yeah.
I'm good. It's all gone.
I remember Barber tried to pull out a little joint with like, bro, if you don't put that thing, I don't need that shit, man.
The Beijing,
Well, the Beijing is
all
like
the jokes.
it's like as soon as you wash your hair, like your haircut ruined. It's like
That's why they don't wash it. Niggas get in there with a shower cap on. Don't let no water touch that shit.
a nigga with a shower cap.
Nah, it lasts a good week, man. You don't let no water touch it.
God damn. All right, so nonetheless, I guess we can kind of move on to it. I'm bald, man. If you all you gotta do is look at my Instagram.
Don't try it, nigga.
Oh, he was talking to you. Oh,
they said y'all, but
I ain't bald.
No, I'm about to say I think it's just two of us.
Nah, hey, look,
but all of us got hats on. He
I ain't shaved, so I'm gonna leave my hat
yeah,
on.
so that native hair, Johnny.
Hey, that's indigenous hair.
It's indigenous,
actually.
Okay. My
bad. That boy got that white man here.
I'm about to
yes, Emil.
Yeah, I see y'all. I'm about to drop the Discord link in a second. I guess we can go a couple places before we get to the main topic. G sent this in as well, where I was watching this conversation earlier. It kind of it sparks a couple different things where I'll push play, but there's two different themes that's kind of being talked about. One is the give, send, go, and at what point is platforming or just having open platforms for being able to raise money for any type of thing become an issue. And then you have this Caucasian lady that just tells us how she feels. I'm gonna push play.
Tribal. Why are black people allowed to be tribal? But as soon as white people stand up for themselves, we're labeled a racist. And by the way, you call people racist when you want them to stop talking about things.
No, I called you a racist because you admitted you were racist. Hang on. I called, just to be clear, I called you a racist because you openly, proudly admitted you're a racist. So it wasn't a question of exposing you or pointing my finger or trying to get this out of you. You proudly sat there, old as brass, and said, yeah, I use the N-word all the time against black people. I'm a racist and I'm proud of it. That's what you did.
Racism is just having a preference. I prefer not to live around black people. I prefer not to live in a country where white people in our country are disproportionately attacked by black people. Where in my country, you can have an Austin Metcalf where he asks a guy to leave and he gets stabbed in the heart. I prefer that. That's a preference. Now, what a real racist is, in my opinion, is seeing someone as less human. I'm a Christian. I believe everyone's created in God's image. So I don't see anyone as less human. But that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have a preference and say, I don't like what happens to be coming out of this community or that community. How is that a bad thing? How is that not just a preference?
Because you've literally made black people sound lesser humans. You don't want to live around them. You want to use the N-word in relation to them, a word that you know causes that community unbelievable offense.
My fault? Is that my fault? If they have bad behavior, if they want to act in a certain way, if I have to cross the street and be afraid that maybe because of the crime statistics that are very real, by the way, is that my fault or is that their fault for having bad behavior?
It's crazy.
All right.
You ain't got Mark Lamont's part on there. And
nah. Oh yeah, I guess there was a couple different things that did happen as well. Where there was a spot where
I think,
what's his name? Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan invited her to say the N-word, and
he was like, "You want to say it? Yeah, go ahead and say it." He was setting her up, and she wouldn't say it after all of that talk.
Yeah, and Mark kind of he kind of blanked for a quick second.
But Mark should have let her say it though. Like I kind of felt Pierce.
No, she let her fall right in.
If somebody on TV and they say it, what are they going? Like, what am I going to do? Like, go ahead and say it. Like, I don't be tripping on shit like that.
I get it,
but you're not saying it directly to me in like a confrontation where I can. Like, if you say it on TV and you want to ruin your career, go ahead. Like, I don't see why we should even get I don't know.
Yeah. No. So I've respected Mark's response. He did 2 different responses. Like he responded then, and then he kind of talked about it a little bit later, where like this is a woman that had already said that she says the N-word, that had already said that she was a racist, that had already kind of like ran down every.
She spend it. Did you hear her definition of racism?
Oh no, but she like that was after she had already went on her whole look
references.
Yeah. Like she had already went on before that, like maybe another 2-minute rant where like Pierce Morgan nailed her to like, oh damn, you just racist. And for him, he said that one, having a white guy invite her to say the N-word for ratings, while him being the only black person on the panel would be the only person that's disrespected by it, is kind of like it wouldn't sit well. And I imagine that would be the discourse right after, where it's like, damn, you just let them say nigga right in front of you. But then you have the other people like Johnny, where it's like, well, let them say it. Like we get to see it. But it's not like it was a trick right here. She had already announced that she says it. She agreed with, because it was based off a video where there's a woman that is raising money now because of, I guess she got swatted or whatever, because she went viral because she was calling a like 5-year-old autistic kid the N-word. And she was saying it multiple times. And then a person came up and confronted her about it, and she called him the N-word. And she was the white lady was defending that. And again, like, so
well, I'm saying that's the part where it's the most like if in a confrontation saying the N-word, or when you're trying to disrespect me, that's when it is, an issue, and that's when you should. But like getting provoked on TV, I'm not gonna get mad, but I think you should say. I think they should, if they want to say it, so they can get dealt with accordingly.
Hey Johnny, was you out there?
She already said it. Like
you out there saying I didn't know she niggas at the Kendrick concert? Was you saying letting the white boy say it at the Kendrick concert?
I ain't go to the Kendrick concert.
I went to the Kendrick concert.
Okay, you went.
Yeah.
White boys out there saying nigga.
It was no white boys around me that was saying nigga. I can't say.
But I'm saying,
I also like
I'm not the nigga.
Really
I'm not the nigga police. Like I'm not gonna go and like.
Oh, you just let them say nigga around you.
Well, no, you don't. They don't say it to me. No, nobody says it.
Go ahead,
no, I can explain it. I'll explain it easy.
But
like,
I think.
Hey, hold up. Hey, Black, hold on.
Hey, Black, save him, please. Save him, please.
Because like nobody says it to me in my face like if we about to fight or it's a different. That you're not gonna say it to me in a disrespectful manner in a conflict, or you say it in this.
If you're just letting it fly casually, just
but
because
if I don't hear it, or when I like try to cancel people that say, I'm not getting mad, but I won't support you. But like I'm not in outrage. I know white people say it. They've been saying it. Like white people saying the N-word's not a surprise. It's like, so like I don't get like too upset about it. Now when they say it in public, I think we should cancel them. You should not support them. I think it gives us an opportunity to hold them accountable. But do I get angry or offended every time? I'd be mad all day long, every day. I just don't focus on it.
You hear it that much?
No, I don't. But I'm saying, but they've been saying it though. It ain't like they invented the word. Like I ain't like. So a white person saying the N-word shouldn't be a surprise. Like,
you're saying that. I think that what you're trying to say is that you don't get triggered by the fact that a white person will say it. Like it's not going to turn you into like a rage or anything.
Yeah, I know it happens.
Like you started, it didn't come off like that's what you were saying.
I hope, that's what I'm trying to land. But I ain't nobody ever said it in front of me. If you try to say it and it will be smoke, I don't mind going, at it. Like, and that's one of the words. If you want to fight, you can say that word and it'll be a fight. But it don't usually go down like that for the most part.
Speaking of words that'll make people fight. Nah, I'm joking. Hey, Black.
Nah, like as far as the white chick, man, I don't really disagree. I mean, I won't say I don't disagree with her, but I'm not really offended by her. Like I like my racism kind of like out in the open. I like to know where I stand. And shit, I'm the same with her. Like I don't want to live around white people. I feel like white people attack us the most. I'm unsafe around them. So I get how she might have that point of view. It becomes racist. I feel like if she's in any type of control of black people, if she's teaching, if she running houses, if she can do anything to change the livelihood of Black people because of her views, and then because of racism. Like, exactly. But if you go, I thought in that moment, like, yeah, Pierce is doing his thing, setting it up, but I wish Mark would have kind of kept his cool a little bit and like let her set herself up, because it's like, I'm not offended by the words. Like, I was that Black dude for the longest. Like, oh, I can't wait till somebody say nigga to me. Like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And then when it happened, I got called nigga in DC by drunk Italian dude. He's with his son. And my response was, I just started laughing. Like, my whole life, like, I've been waiting. I live in the South. It took me coming to DC to hear this. And I was like, I always talk about what I'm gonna do. And when I heard it, I laughed, because I was like, I'm not even offended. Like, like you're trying to offend me because something about you is insecure. And here we are in 20, whatever it was, and you think that's supposed to hurt me. And, you know, his son was apologetic and shit and like trying to get him off, walk him away and stuff, because he was being racist to a Mexican worker too. He was just like letting everybody have it. But in that moment, I realized it's like, that shit don't offend me. So like in that moment, I wanted Mark to kind of let that white lady set herself up, because it's like, bro, I used to like Mark, but he kind of grown on me. I be seeing him on a Joe Budden podcast where they be saying niggas.
It's not good for them. Yeah.
So he's grown on me lately.
You said he's not good for Joe Budden?
In that, like, it's a clear difference. It's like a clear difference in like,
yeah, I think that's why they have him on there
and talk about certain things that passed before him joining the show. It just didn't exist. So it's like these niggas really gonna have to.
He give a more educated point of view, and I think they needed that. I think that's why they have it. But he's grown on me. But I'm like, bro, y'all say nigga on there. I know everybody on the cast is Black, and Melissa, she mixed. Y'all, so it's like, we gonna keep getting raging mad when somebody say nigga, or do we want to know who somebody is so we know how to act with them? Because if you think these white people not saying nigga by themselves when they rapping songs by themselves.
Wait, are y'all saying we need to learn to just like let people call us niggas?
No, I'm not saying you gotta pick your battles too, because I done been in situations. I remember I was at the Juicy J concert. It's predominantly white, and they was nigga, and I'm like, okay, I can't fight everybody in here. I remember going to a party at Davidson College, a lot of drunk white boys on the football and wrestling team. They turned up rapping, saying nigga, and they looking like, you know, what you gonna do? And I'm like, all right, we go fight everybody in here, or we just go leave. So it's like, you got to pick your battles too. It's like, every time you say nigga, I'm not gonna be triggered. I'm not gonna get triggered. Now, if it's one-on-one, it gotta be the right situation for me.
And there's a limit. Like if it's me, like if it's in a group situation and I can't do nothing, you
outnumbered. That's when they embolden.
Of course you're gonna say it, but if it's me and you and we arguing. And I can touch you and you say it. You know, it's never come in that situation.
So you'll fight a vampire before you do that. Is what you're saying?
But hold on, I got another point too.
You'll risk it all for a vampire.
Johnny, before you make I'm just gonna play the clip that we're talking about so that everybody has the full context.
All right, and then come back to me.
He said he wanted to smoke with the vampire though.
Allowed to say what they want unashamedly, and you will
go
not
on then,
have
say it. Say
you will not have
go on, say the M word. Go on.
You said that shit like a
No.
proper
Don't
invite. No. I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me, because I'm the only on here. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it. So please don't invite her for ratings to call me the N-word, because that's basically what it's going to be. There's a bunch of white people up here. You and one Uncle Tom on the left here, and to ask her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish person and say, please use a Jewish slur in front of this Jewish. It's ridiculous. I understand you don't have any bad intent, Pierce. I understand what you're trying to do, but we already know she's racist, and I don't want to invite a racial harm to me.
I hear you, and I accept that, and we'll leave it there. Thank you.
I will also say that
ain't nothing wrong with that either, though. Like, that's how you feel. Like, ain't nothing wrong with that.
I also say that. And this goes when again, I don't use the word tether, but when a lot of the guys they use it, you see Myron right there, where maybe he's Sudanese, I want to say.
I mean, both of them technically not.
But what he had was a gun that when he shoots it, it has the N-word flag. So it's a flag that just says Nigger, not even an A at the end.
So he's saying it as a slur, as a
that's so at the end of the clip. Let me see if it's still up there. At At
They
the end of the
blurred it
clip,
out.
you see, yeah, they
Something
blurred it out.
Yeah.
But that's what he did. In which, yeah, again, like I don't think that anybody in here is a fan of Myron. But yeah, it's just him doubling down on like just the nasty shit.
He a clown.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my point as far like where A Black was. Like, I try not to be offended. Like I say, there's like a certain, like when it comes on one-on-one and the level of respect I demand, and in the one-on-one situation, like if you choose to use that word, it is disrespectful. But as far as just getting triggered as a whole, anytime I hear somebody say it, am I gonna crash out? Nah. But I say if somebody want to do it completely justified, he made a great point. He like if the black dude invite the white boy to say it, it's cool. The white boy shouldn't be doing it. I totally get him there. But there's some. I had a conversation with a couple people at work, and we was talking about like white people, and like white racist terms came up. You know, like honky and all of that shit, and like.
Hey, could you describe
I don't even believe in white racist terms.
Could you describe the group of people you was talking with?
I mean, it was like a Mexican, a couple Hispanics, a couple blacks, a couple white. I mean, it was a very mixed group. I mean, it was a pretty fairly like mixed, group. And
y'all really the homies. If y'all on the clock talking about this, okay.
but then, because like they were talking about that word, and I was like, they don't fucking care. Like they don't get offended. It's these terms that are supposed to be disrespectful, and like that's one of their superpowers. Is they don't get offended by like shit like that. And it's like they just blow it off. And like in today's day and age, is somebody saying the N-word what's keeping us from where we want to go? It's probably not. Like, I mean, like we could deal with people that say it and choose to say it openly and be disrespectful and disregarding of our, how we feel. But that's not what's stopping us. Or that's not what's keeping me. I don't trip on that shit. And like like I said, if you say it to me, cool. But people that say the N-word, they get dealt with accordingly. We ain't got to shop with them. We ain't got to do business with them. But to sit and get overly offended when it's a term designed to trigger us would be giving them what they want.
And I hate to interrupt, but OKC just broke a damn record on Denver. 87
taking their ass, ain't they?
Oh, god damn. This is the belt to add situation.
Yeah,
Hold on,
crazy.
Wait a minute, they scored 87 at halftime?
NBA history, they just broke, man. Never happened.
It's halftime?
Halftime.
I told y'all.
I saw the score.
Y'all was sleeping on them young boys. Y'all was sleeping on them young boys.
I thought it was the third.
I expected them to win decisively, but that's crucial.
It's ugly.
87. 87 in the first half is fucking it. Like what?
What does Denver have?
I think that's
56.
You said what?
56.
Okay. Oh,
yeah, they're up by like 30.
It's still 30. It's still 30. God damn.
But 87? They 13 points away from 100.
I don't think Timberwolves had like 88 last game, the whole game.
Yes.
Yeah, they hitting everything.
Yeah,
damn it.
No, they didn't. They had like that's insane. They scored as much as the Timberwolves scored in the whole game in one half.
That's wild. But yeah, my bad. Back to the
next regular schedule.
Damn, man.
Yeah, I guess before we hit the main topic, there has been a term that was thrown out, and I'd love for y'all to give me your reaction to it. I'll go to the source, and he's going to define it out. And I'd like for y'all just to kind of give y'all initial reactions on this concept. Shout out Steve. Steve sent this to me.
Now, what is soft power? What does that mean? Soft power basically is America's ability to influence other countries and global populations through basically cultural appeal, political ideas and value, rather than military and economic force. See, the hard power is you going in there with tanks and guns and smacking people around. So that hard power, that's kind of dangerous because that builds up a resentment. So America, it gets its thing, it gets its foot in the door with soft power. Soft power is basically you using your culture to become infused into other societies and getting them on board. So there's several things that are a part of America's soft power. In America, we have a strong military, but again, you got China and places like that trying to be militaristically hard and running up on folks militaristically. See, that can't work all the time. So when you use soft power, you use things like, the Hollywood film industry, TV shows, music, hip hop, jazz, all of our music, fashion, that dominates the global media. So American lifestyle, these are aspirational worldwide. That comes from us, by the way. See, America's soft power is all of the cultures that we are creating. See, we have to really understand this game from a political standpoint, also political values. The whole ideology of freedom of speech and democracy and civil rights, that's promoted as core American values, and that influences like global democratic movements. Even if it's inconsistent at home, even because it's very inconsistent here. This is why they try to make us shut up and not talk about the hypocrisy. Also, higher education, that's a form of soft power, technological innovation, global media dominance.
All right. So I sped it up a little at the end. But yeah, again, I'll ask y'all, is Black people in America America's soft power? And if so, what is his value?
And the term itself is just oxymoronic, soft powered. I mean, that's like saying dry water. It's like they just trying to find something new to say. But Tariq, what are you talking about? Like, we know Black people's culture is pervasive, it's global, but that's not power. That's influence. Maybe you want to call it soft influence or but power, like what are we really influencing that is progressing us as a people, or progressing the diaspora or people around us as a people, like positively? That I feel like that would be the power, like a real influence of progression around the world that you can find its source in FBA Black America, positively influencing the world. I don't see that power. I mean, this just kind of seemed like a new term that somebody's created, but power is not soft, or it wouldn't be power.
I agree. I mean, soft power is influence. It's not power. He's talking about our influence on society, but power comes into it comes into industry. It comes into resources. It comes into military. Like power is built on a whole lot of other things outside of like what he was talking about, and our influence, our creativity. But yeah, we like, power is not something like we have influence and we have potential. But as far as like right now in America, I wouldn't say power is something, because if we had power, we exercise power. We wouldn't, be in a lot of the, we wouldn't be complaining about the things we complain about. We'd exercise power. So I wouldn't say, we have soft power.
And we can argue that a lot of that influence is waning. Like, we already kind of lost our own culture in a way here, where as far as like the ownership of it, the distribution of it, we seeing white rappers, we're seeing other cultures kind of come into like our cuss, so it's spread across the world, and now you see them taking over. You see the Asian rappers, you see the
K-pop,
so that they are starting to make it their own. So to me, the power would be like it can't be diluted. It's gonna stay the same everywhere it goes. But like FBA soft power, like I'm not seeing that concept from his explanation.
G, before you go, all right, so this would be two plugs. One, I'm gonna drop the Discord link again. Make sure y'all join the Discord, and again, it's a fun place to have conversations.
Tag Trey in the Discord.
Yeah, there's a couple different channels. I will say the one that's most spicy is Unfiltered, but saying all that to say, I just dropped the call-in link in the Discord. If you would like to, again, we don't have specifically a FBA representative today. Shout out to our guy FBA Trey. He couldn't make it today. But with that said, we got one. We got a favorite. He's just tapped in, and I think that at least giving a fair representation to the full conversation. We got Quincy, but G, I'm gonna throw it to you first.
Man, honestly, I like I said, I think it's just like I don't think Tariq said anything that's not true. Like our culture is one of our superpowers. It's the most valuable thing that we export as a country is Black culture. But like to the point of like soft power, it's just like, you know, then it becomes semantics to me, because it's like what are you actually trying to define as power and so forth? Because you know, that cultural influence hasn't led to like us taking over any governments abroad or creating, you know, streamlines for us to, you know, make strong profits anywhere else. Like I don't know abroad where our culture then turned into something that monetarily helped our culture here domestically. So if it was like a soft power, why wouldn't it then be beneficial to, like, if it is a soft power, it's not ours to leverage, unfortunately.
Gotcha. And I guess Quincy, I'll toss it to you. And I'll ask the question again. This was just introduced to me this week. Inside the way that it's being framed, what are and what has been the fruits of the Black American soft power that are for Black Americans to claim, I guess?
Yeah. Y'all hear me just fine?
Yes, sir.
I don't think that Black Americans have bared the fruit of the soft power.
Okay.
Like at all. I don't think that up until this point, I mean, social media, I mean, it popped off in the mid 2000s. It really kind of got going in the early 2010s, to where we really kind of got exposed to people worldwide. And I don't think, I honestly, I don't even think even up to this day, the average Black American recognize our influence like on the whole globe. I don't think we do. The average Black American. A lot of us tapped into these conversations. You know, if you like on YouTube or you're on social media, you see it. But I mean, I don't think, I think most people just going to work and doing what they do and coming back home and taking care of their people. But I don't think that they see like how influential we are like to the world. So like when I think you played the clip of like Tariq saying a soft influence, I think America itself, the government, you know, I always feel like the government is always, you know, 5 steps ahead. I mean, they got like people on deck. They get salaries for this stuff, you know, like they get salaries for psychology and how people think and how people move. And I think they're like, you know, years ahead of your average American. And when you come to your average Black American who don't know like how influential we are around the world, I think America knows. I think they do know. And I think they've known since, I think what was that? The y'all heard about the what was it? I think it was the Vietnam, when the brothers was out there overseas and they was like, black man, this is not your fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think America, when I say America, I'm talking about the American government. I think the American government has been 100% well aware of our influence across the globe, but I don't think Black Americans have.
Gotcha.
You know?
So correct me if I'm incorrect. So it sounds like currently Black people aren't able to take advantage of said soft power, and if anything, is being exploited by it via the government.
100%. Yep.
Okay.
Because how is that? But I'm saying, how is
real quick?
I just want to highlight. I'm in line with FBA policies.
And I'm FBA. I'm FBA by lineage.
This would be the part that I guess I love for Quincy to answer. Inside the conversation earlier in the week, it was said that by using the FBA soft power, it could be leveraged to get reparations. But I'm trying to understand if like you don't have like if you're not in control of your soft power, how can that be a way of leveraging it for reparations?
Soft power is value.
Johnny, hold on, wait.
Value and like
Johnny, I let Quincy answer real quick. We're gonna go right to you.
So the way I look at it is that your average FBA, your average Black American, don't have autonomy on our voice, right? Mm-hmm. Our voices are monopolized on the powers that be, with AKA the Democratic Party, Jasmine Crockett's, Lamont Hill, Roland Martin, what's your boy Van Jones, Barack Obama. You know, so it's kind of like a ceiling. You know how they speak about the glass ceiling for like women or Black people. I feel like there's a glass ceiling for your average Black person, and the average Black people who may feel a certain way, but our voices only could get but so high, and at a certain point, it gets kind of circumvented and hijacked by the powers that be, and they turn it into what they want to turn it into. Right. And we've seen that. We saw that with Black Lives Matter, where it was supposed to be a Black man died. That was a Black man died, and Black men who typically the majority who die. And we saw what that turned into: LGBT, rainbow. It turned into all this other stuff, right? And we see this even right now, where you see all these Black folks jumping on CNN, trying to use the Black American history and leverage on this country to help like migrants who are not us. So I feel like we do have a voice, but breaking through that glass ceiling, like that's the big part where we that's the big struggle. I don't think even your Tariq Nasheeds or Professor Black Truth, and your grassroots Black folks hadn't figured out how to break through that. Now they've had a voice, a real big voice, which is influential, but I don't think it's figured out how to break through and really pierce, and because we can't. Like, I mean, when it boiled down to it, the older Black folks, the Boule folks, they still tune in to the CNNs and stuff. And we already know CNN don't give no damns about Black people. They use Black people, and they use our plight and our history and our cultural cachet to help others, but they don't care about us. And I feel like that's the real struggle right now, where like Black Americans are trying to speak for themselves, and we got the Boule jumping in front of it every single time, hijacking it.
All right, appreciate it, Quincy. I think that's a fair take. I think that is it was honest on both sides of it. Johnny.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I kind of, I agree with what Quincy's saying as far as like, especially as far as the breaking through, like
it's hard to leverage something like
it's hard to leverage the power, but I don't like, and I guess my thing was, if you can't leverage power, is it really power? I think what we've talked about and what gets exploited amongst Black people is not our power, it's our value. There's a lot of value in the influence that Black people have. There's a lot of value in the things that we've brought over from wherever, in the things, our culture, our food, our music, or who we are as a people. I think what we talk about is the value. There's influence that, like, once you take your value and influence, you can turn it into power. But if it continues to get exploited, it's not power. It's once you take.
If you don't have control of it.
If you don't have control, it's once you take your value and your influence and use them simultaneously, is where you get power. But we've talked about influence, we've talked about value, but you have to merge them together in order. We've talked about influence, we talked about value, merge them together, and you get power.
Got you. We do have another one. It's our guy Kofi, affectionately referred to as Coffee. Kofi, talk to us, brother.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Can you repeat the question one more time?
It's pretty much speaking about soft power, and if you agree, disagree with the take of Black Americans being America's soft power, or if you want to, if you don't think so, or if you do, the question that I asked Quincy was more or less, is a Black American soft power something that can be leveraged as a thing of power for the group?
Yeah. I apologize. I really don't understand because on the world stage, you're seeing how we use Tariq Nakoon use China soft power.
Kofi,
as far as
no ad hominems. Let's keep it
no,
regular.
Tariq's not here, so I'm not.
He's not. But let's just try and
all right, cool, whatever.
Stay the course right now.
See how China uses soft power in a way that it could, forego its economical power, right? So I don't see the parallel on international stage how Black Americans are using soft power. Now, I do agree that Black American culture is pretty much American culture and sets the tone for what American culture is. Agree with that 100%, full stop. But I don't see that separation of the average Black American has influence internationally when it comes to soft power. One of the things that I do know is that one of the things that I learned years ago, where Black people had used it wasn't even soft power, it was militaristic power when Ethiopia was getting invaded by the Italians, and you had Black people lining up, via the United States government to go over and to protect Ethiopia because it was a Black nation getting attacked by white people. So that's them using hard power. Black people using soft power on an international scale, I wouldn't see that I don't see that as in them being independently doing it on their own. Someone mentioned the Vietnam War. Yeah, if you're talking about Vietnam War, a lot of us, were drafted into the Vietnam War. That's not by choice, right? And everyone knows anything about history. Vietnam War was a disaster, So, I understand the question, but I don't see the parallels of Black American soft power on the international stage.
Got you. All right. So, nonetheless, I think it's fair enough to keep y'all up here as we segue our way into the next conversation. Yeah, I think that y'all can add some fairly fruitful pieces to it. So this is the meme. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, this ain't even. I promise you, it's no beef with Kofi. You know what I thought about? Black Americans are kind of like the cool cousin, or the person that say if you're trying to pull a okie doke on somebody, right? And their guard is up, right? Because if you send X, Y, and Z person, their guard is up, right? I feel like Black America, the superpower of one of the superpowers of America is that they do have Black Americans, and they can send us out there, and kind of rub shoulders with you, right? Right or wrong, they could do it, and it could kind of get people's guards down in ways that maybe like the UK or whatever other world superpower can't. Like they can send send a little cool ass Black American out there, talk to them, use a little slang, use a whatever, and then they kind of take people's guard down. So that was just my thought about how America might use, like Black America can't use it ourselves, but we are used by America in ways
and I think that everybody agrees that Black American culture is America's possibly is most powerful export. The issue that I think that everybody's kind of speaking to is that right now we don't have control of that said export.
No, we don't.
And more times than not is leveraged inside a space of exploitation. But saying all that to say, we're gonna move into the main topic. this is the meme that kind of got the conversation started. I'm gonna push play on this, and we can kind of give some initial reactions, and then depending on where the conversations go, we'll kind of go through some prompted questions.
We can all point to people from outside America. Go to America and rise. Yeah, Colin Powell did that. Kamala Davy Harris has done that, whatever. But you can't pretend that's typical. Do you see?
Yeah.
But what happens is because we live in a world where people don't really have full pictures, you can take the exception, use that to smack around African Americans' faces. This guy just got off the boat. He's doing better than you. Not realizing, but for my man to have got on the boat in the first place, he wasn't typical of the country that he was coming from. He was in the top echelons of that country. Do you see?
Yeah.
And the same is true also with people from Africa going to Black America. So if we're going to compare the top 10%, let's compare the top 10%. And when we do that, African Americans are slaughtering us. There are, you see, I was fortunate in visiting Black America. My book, When We Ruled, there's an American edition.
Okay.
And I invited myself to my publisher's house in America, William Paul Coates. You might know his son, Ta-Nehisi Coates.
No.
Ta-Nehisi Coates, he's a commentator. If you Google him, he's a big figure.
Okay.
So what happened was me and a friend, we invited ourselves to my man's house. And so I got to see how that segment of African Americans were living. They were living large, bro.
Yeah, because I know they've got some serious high society, and they've got their own versions of country club.
Yeah, this was not the specific clip. I think that this is it right here.
That's the one about to say proving our point.
We'll go to America and excel academically and excel business-wise. We know the reason why, because you just explained it, in terms of some of the deprivations and the intentional, stifling of the Black American family, Black American business, and you name it. But not all of them can be affected by this. There's always got to be certain people who rise above it, regardless of what the situation is. It's just the natural nature thing. Weeds grow through gardens, you name it. Why do you think it is that a country like Jamaica or Africa, where they too have had their deprivations, had their colonialism, had their slavery, why do they go somewhere and tend to excel amongst people who also have gone through it?
Because you're not comparing like with like, that's why.
Okay.
A lot of us think we are comparing like with like. You're not. Let me explain. Generally speaking, Caribbeans in America, not the ones in the Caribbean, but the ones in America, will represent the top 10%.
I see.
So if you're really going to compare like with like, you have to compare the top 10% of Caribbeans with the top 10% of African Americans.
Okay.
And when you compare the two, the African Americans are slaughtering us, bro. It's not even close. It's a massacre. But what it is we compare the top 10% with your average African American. You're not comparing like with like. And if you compare your average African American, you're 51, you've got 1 to 100 and Mr. number 51. Number 51 is richer by a factor of 20 than your average Jamaican. Do you see? So what happens is it's a perception thing.
Let's touch on the Caribbeans and the Africans who go to America and excel academically and excel business-wise. We know the reason why, because you just...
All right, my bad. All right, cool. Fellas, we'll start at the top, G. Your initial reactions. You throw it into the chat. Thoughts.
You mute.
You muted.
I think it was interesting to hear non-FBA or non-FBAs rather talking amongst each other about the perception of, say, FBAs in America versus their counterparts in America. And I think it's beneficial to have, say, more people like the professor. This is why I'm big on alliances, because, and not just isolating yourself, because if you've got individuals like this on the other side that understands like the dynamics that exist in America as it relates to race and Black Americans and Black immigrants, a lot of this back and forth that gets so hostile, I think, can easily be like, addressed and we move forward from it. And then I think it brings up a bigger question of like, which group actually has the clearest pathway to success? Like, does a Black American have more obstacles to overcome than the average Black immigrant that comes to America? My thought is yes, they do. And so, that clip hearing,
but it's not just the average.
Yeah, that's literally what he said. It's not about average. Like, you gotta take the top percentage of each.
He just said if you look at average, that's what he said.
No, he said.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Now he gonna say the ones that come here that you're comparing yourself to, or that we're comparing ourselves to, that's the top 10% of whatever society they're coming from.
So you shouldn't look at the top. I mean, you shouldn't look at the average Black. You should look at top 10%.
And then if you're gonna compare the average American, you gotta go back to where they're from and compare it to the average person from whatever country they're from. And then that's a more true evaluation or analysis of where we stand, is what he was saying.
And I think, like, so I know in the chat, it was G because my argument was that we as Black Americans, we have more privilege over Black immigrants. And what the professor was saying is, they're bringing their top percent here, their top that come here, and we see that exception and think like, oh, they had a clear path. But like he said, if we take our top 10% Black people, we killing them in every category. Like when we travel, I know G's been to Africa. We have American and Black privilege when we go other places. Like, we don't necessarily have to learn the other language. Our dollar is longer in other places. People are catering to us, and we're exercising our Black American privilege when we go to the Caribbean or when we go to Africa. So here, when you're born in America, you already have the native language, you already have the opportunity, and that's really what it's about. It's like you're born in the place with the opportunity here. You don't have to kind of come through the obstacles of taking a boat, taking a plane, getting a visa, worried about your citizenship, learning another language, having an accent, applying to jobs that don't even.
Man, niggas got accents, bro. That's the unfortunate, but see, that's what I'm saying. The obstacles that Black Americans have to overcome domestically aren't the same obstacles that like Black immigrants have to face. Black immigrants' accents don't get perceived the way as a Black person with a country accent or a New York accent or an Oakland accent. Look at how they talk about Ryan Coogler.
That's not because of lack of opportunity. Ryan Coogler accent didn't stop him from being the highest gross Black director of all time.
Like, what I'm saying is
a lack of opportunity.
And you're Black, and if you're qualified, your Black accent not going to keep you.
That's more indicative. More indicative.
Your Black accent.
Ryan Coogler is an exception. The average Black director does not speak like Ryan Coogler. He is an exception.
But that's proving the point that he has this stutter, he has this accent, and he's still at the top of his class.
But he is an exception.
But
he's not that.
But the Black immigrants and the Caribbean immigrants you're talking about,
exception with his talent also.
And so you're telling me that once they touch down here, they have less to overcome or more to overcome than one of the quote unquote top Black Americans here, is what you're saying.
Bro, they already had to overcome to even get here.
No, I'm talking about here. I'm talking about here.
They've already overcame things to even get here. So yeah, then they are.
But they did it though. But you just said they come from the top 10% of their home. What did they have to overcome being so wealthy?
But they still.
But that means they had less to overcome than us. if they had to overcome.
Like, do they come from the top 10% of their homeland, meaning that they're wealthy, or do they not?
But that's what he said. Even their top percent, our average in a lot of cases is making more money, is having more education, is having more access to healthcare and things. Even our average person is competing with a lot of their top people.
And so if it's harder for them, why does the data in terms of income not prove to be that it's more difficult for them to earn than Black Americans?
The data is including more than just African immigrants. They're including,
and by the
Spanish,
time they've
they're
gotten
including
here,
including all of those immigrants. It's not separated by just saying African. When they are talking about immigrants and the benefits that they're facing,
no, even when they break it down by country. No, I'm talking about broken down by country.
G, I think that the video explains why that would be. Where, and I think that it's like what he said is fair when you're talking about giving like a good representation. So it would be easier for their top 10% to be successful in America in comparison to the whole of all Black people in America. That's why the numbers are skewed. If you, again, now just look at the top 10% of Black people in America and compare that to, like, let's just say all Nigerians in America, because if we're saying that that's their top 10%, now it looks different. The comparison looks completely different. And that's where the fairer comparison would be at. Their numbers are going to skew higher because it's more of a selected, vetted group that makes it inside totality in America.
Which means, so my point is, once they get here, they have an easier path to success.
Yeah, I think y'all are arguing two separate points, though.
No,
so
but A-Black is saying that it's harder for them once they get here.
A-Black, correct me if
I'm not saying it's harder. I'm not saying it's easier. I'm saying they got this. They get opportunity. Like what benefits? Tell me what benefits an African immigrant comes. They get here that puts them above a Black American. Are they getting like some type of voucher? Are they getting the money? Like
we have different starting points. We have different starting points, as you just highlighted, right? Like,
but to be fair though, we're talking about the top 10% of Black people. The top 10% of Black people are doing well as well. It would be different starting points inside that comparison.
Okay, if you look at top 10% of Black people, like you do realize like Black wealth is not like a alarming statistic, right? Like when you start talking about top 10% of Black wealth, it's not relatively high compared to other races. So
G, let me ask you this then. Do you think that
because 6% of Black people make six figures, right?
So, cool. But
Black Americans.
So when you start talking top 10% of Black,
G, this will help paint the conversation. Do you think that the top 10% of Black people in America are doing better than the top 10% of Nigerians?
Yes.
Okay, then if you take that as the starting point, and remember, we're not comparing all Black people.
Yeah.
According to the video, like we're talking about the top 10% on both sides.
Top 10% basically means 80K and above.
That's not the top 10%. 80K.
If 6% of Black Americans make 100%.
I can take it again. When I looked it up, I think the top 10% of Black
6% of Black men make 100K. What's the number?
I'm not sure. I know when I looked it up, it said 140K would be like the top 10% of Black people in America, like annual salary average.
But can we answer this question though of like what are the African or the Caribbean immigrants getting that is launching their starting point ahead of them or making it an easier
They have less
path?
friction. They have less friction in their journey.
Less friction from who?
The systems in place.
Can I chime in here, please?
Yes, somebody.
Because okay, so as a so-called immigrant, as here, what G is saying is absolutely wrong. Right now, I know there's nuances to it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you a whole bunch of stories about how my mother and my parents were just as discriminated, just like the average Black person, so I don't understand what the less friction is, unless what you're trying to say is, oh, you have a Nigerian accent or a Ghanaian or a Guyanese accent. So, oh, you the good nigger. So we're going to treat you different than the other ones, which is pretty much the FBA talking point. I'm not saying that's what you're trying to do, G, but that's what they to say. That's a talking point that they have. So I agree with everything that the professor said. I totally agree. It's this trope. It's an American trope. Even people that are immigrants, and let's say they're like second, third generation here, it's an American thing where, if you're coming from a quote unquote third world country, you're just struggling person that's a refugee that had 2 nickels in your pocket and your shoes is beat up, yada 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 yada. When that's not just the average person coming into here. So it is the top 10%. Now, it's a process of getting here. If you immigrate here, it's a whole process that is here, which takes connections, which takes money, and it takes a lot of red tape just to get here, to start from the bottom, depending on what your profession is. My parents were cops in our country. So obviously we just can't just transfer into, even though my father was a security guard at a hospital for years, you just can't transform into.
Was your family in the top 10% of your country?
I would say that we were above middle class.
So no.
Well, I don't know what, as far as like what suffice as top 10%.
Middle class ain't top 10%.
So again, I don't know. I will have to ask my father, whatever. But
Kofi, let me ask you this.
Sounds like working class family.
Yeah, this will go to the question. So you said like slightly above middle class. What did that translate to in America?
Nothing. Nothing really. Pretty much with the president, my mother had administrative skills, right? So she had to go to school, start all over again, go to school, get degrees, because whatever degrees you have in those countries aren't honored over here. So you're starting from the beginning, right? She cleaned houses for white people, right? Went to school until she earned her way into better jobs in corporate America, where she's got really good jobs. She worked for Empire, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Marshall McLennan, ASCAP, all these places, through going to school, starting all over again like a high schooler. Same thing. My father used to. We were in New York cleaning buildings for the super and doing odd jobs and working at the mall. Pretty much you start off as teenagers if you don't have any skills that could transform into something else that could be useful here. So if you're like a carpenter or something like that, or electrician, I guess you might have an easier time. I know people that were doctors and physicians, again, they still got to go right back to medical school, because they're not, the United States not honoring a medical degree from somewhere else. You got to start all over again, so.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Like, and top percentage is not always financially too. It's educational in a lot of these areas, where a lot of people are coming here and getting here based on their academic merit, but they're not coming from rich families. So I work at HBCU, most people know, and our commencement is next week. So every commencement we feature our top performing students, the valedictorian, salutatorian, and the kids with the highest GPA. Our top 5 students at an all-black HBCU, all of them from Zimbabwe. I don't know what's up with Zimbabwe, but the top 5, all 4.0s, all computer science majors, all got jobs at Bank of America, Dell, Apple already when they graduated. But none of them come from money. Only one girl could fly her mom out from her side job. The other 2 boys, they're sad. They job ain't started yet. They can't afford to get their parents out here, but they all had to tell their stories, and they talking about how hard it was to get their visa, how Johnson, I don't want to say my school, my HBCU was the only one that would accept them.
Johnson and Wales, we know.
Well, guys, Johnson University was the only school that would accept them in the U.S. and stuff like that. And so they none of them had no easy path. They worked, they got side jobs. Like another one of my students, she's a junior. She had to go back to London because her parents moved from Zimbabwe to London, so she can renew her visa because of all the Trump shit going on and stuff. So and that's not to say that our FBA students are not dealing with struggles and shit too, but we can't make it seem like they come here and it's a red carpet rolled out. Cause them kids is like they coming from.
I said less friction. I said less friction specifically.
But it's not less friction. Like, you know, some of them have like I say, poor families and poor parents, and they're representing like they're the first of their families to come to America. Like they never came before that and shit. Like, so
but there's plenty to this day black people who's in their family they have yet to even touch a college like here domestically in the States. Like it's plenty of black families that don't have college educated people in the family domestically.
And I agree with that too. But the opportunity is closer there. They don't have to deal with like, you know, finding a school that will accept them, that will help them get a visa, that will help them get a partial scholarship or anything like that. So it's like a lot of them are facing struggle too. Like I don't want this conversation to be like, oh, immigrants are just coming here, especially black immigrants. Now other immigrants we can argue get benefits and stuff. We know what's going on with the Latinos and everything, and what they was doing in New York and giving them vouchers and grants and housing and shit like that.
Indians with H-1B.
And at the same time, not doing that with Haitians and stuff like in the other side. So black immigrants don't get the same benefits as European and Spanish immigrants. Like they are dealing with friction. They still get the same racism and stuff too.
I'm gonna ask a question, and I'll go to Quincy, Chikwe, and Steve first, and then we'll kind of continue around the panel.
I want to add in one more thing. Real quick. It's not even 20 seconds long.
Kofi, I love you, but I think everybody was trying to jump in right there.
Cool.
So let me ask this question: does growing up in the quote unquote richest country in the history of the world, with the best average living standard of any collective group of black people, and the access to all the amenities that is America, equate to the American black having quote unquote more privilege than immigrants coming in?
All right, let me jump in. First, I'm gonna give a shout out to Kofi, because me and him have had some back and forth beforehand, and we was real quiet while the OG host was doing our back and forth. So shout out to you, Kofi, man, because I know we don't say eye to eye all the time. So, but to answer a few questions, Malcolm Gladwell has an article from about 1996 called "Black Like Them." Malcolm Gladwell is a Jamaican immigrant to America, where he speaks about how Caribbean immigrants, and this is specifically his experience up in New York, where he spoke about how they did have advantages over Black Americans up in New York, right? So that's that. So there is. I know a lot of times we try to say white people don't know the difference. White people know the difference. They've always known the difference. There's I mentioned this beforehand on your all's show. There's a video of Muhammad Ali speaking about how he was in, I think, Kentucky, and he couldn't eat in a diner, but he saw two Africans walk in and they was able to eat, but the Negroes weren't able to eat. So the whole idea of white folks can't tell the difference, that's false. They can. So that's that. The second thing is comparing the better comparison to your question was about, do Black Americans?
I can react it if you want me to.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, there's growing up, quote unquote, in the richest country in the history of the world, with the best average living standards of any collective group of Black people, and the access to the American amenities, I guess we'll say that, equate to a version of Black American privilege in comparison to everybody else in the diaspora, I guess.
Okay, so it's twofold. I will say yes, it is a privilege, but it's not a privilege that was handed to us. America ain't America without us, without our ancestors getting died, getting killed, raped, castrated, hung. America ain't America. So in any privilege we got, Black Americans got in America, we earned this shit. So anybody from the outside looking in that's jealous, that's saying y'all get the bees sitting in the belly of the beast, that's sitting fat like a fat rat. Oh, we done paid our dues. That's for anybody from the Caribbeans all the way to Africa. I don't want to hear it. We done paid our dues in blood, in this sand, in this dirt. So don't come to us talking about like it was handed to us. Nothing was ever handed to Black Americans. We paid for it. People have paid for it. And any Black American that's alive at this very moment right now, it's a miracle. From getting across the seas on the belly of those boats to the centuries of being on the plantations to this day to Jim Crow to this day.
You say they came from Africa, Quincy?
Oh yeah, no, I never say we didn't come from Africa. I've
okay.
always said we came over here in the belly of the beast. We was matter of fact, we was the last stop. If y'all take a look at the transatlantic slave trade, look at the route, we was the last stop. So for us to make it and survive all the way from Brazil, which I believe was the first stop, to now to America, which was the last stop, you got to be some strong motherfuckers, man. Real talk. So we've earned everything that we got,
Gotcha.
So that's that. So, but
I just want to add real quick, and because I don't disagree with that, but to that Malcolm Gladwell point in the Jamaican thing, it's like what happens when in New York specifically? What happens when these groups go to New York? They form.
He was talking about New York.
Yeah. No, with Malcolm Gladwell and the Jamaicans in New York having benefits is they go and they form communities there, become insular, and they put back into their own community.
That's what I mean by less friction, Black. That's exactly what I mean by less friction.
That had to do with friction. That's indicative of our culture and
no. Because you got to be able to come over here and get access to certain capital to create some of these businesses, permits, etc.
No, like you move in the same areas. You look out for your own people, and you create communities, and that creates your own benefits. Like what you gotta tell me what governmental benefits that they are getting when they come here.
Access to capital.
Can I jump in real quick?
Capital. What credit do they have?
We both have the same access to capital.
We do not.
What
immigrants have than Americans? Find it out really quickly when you say
the likelihood of getting approved for a small business loan is like, let's just use that as the example. Like why did the Democratic Party make such a big deal about creating a pool of small business loans specifically for Black people? Like, why is that such a big deal? It's because we have traditionally been like phased out and have been put in situations where it's just the data suggests we are less likely to get approved for the same amount of money.
So this has been happening since the 1980s.
Is there something that's saying that Black immigrants are getting approved at the same rate? The little bit of research that I did do, it said that in essence, when it comes down to housing practices, when it comes down to loan and different practices, though they're doing better than Black people, quote unquote, which again, this is the top 10%, that they're still below average, and they're still
So look, I'm not saying that
like racism.
I'm not saying they're treated as equal as whites. Comparative to us, they have less friction. Is my statement.
But
that's my statement.
You're making a subjective statement with this less friction thing, but you're not giving anything.
I just gave you an example. Q just said.
That's your opinion, but nothing you have is backing up your opinion.
Can I make a point?
Steve, welcome to the show.
What's up?
Steve, before you go, I like to say that Quincy might be my favorite FBA. I ain't gonna say you. Shout out to Quincy.
Shut up, man.
Don't forget about Chuck though.
Shut up, Chuck.
Oh yeah, for sure.
FBA too.
Oh no, my matter of fact, let me stop real quick. My favorite FBA, he's MIA this week.
FBA Trey.
FBA Trey, yeah, that's the homie, that's the dog. Hopefully we'll see him back next week. He had things to attend to, but
can I
running is Quincy. But
hey, I was
before
talking,
you go, Quincy, you said you wanted to finish. Go
yeah,
ahead.
Because everybody jumped in. I promise you, I'm gonna just finish real quick.
Okay.
So I think the thing that a lot of us are overlooking, right, is that immigrants in general take away, stay in America, right? When people move from city to city, I think y'all in Charlotte, right? When people move from city to city, that is the people who move are a certain motivated individual, right? For you to move from city to city, you're more motivated typically than the native of the city that you left and the city that you're moving to, right? So take that and expand it out to the countries. Typically, the people who move from country to country, they're going to be more motivated. They're going to tell their kids, like, hey, we didn't move across the whole world for you to come over here and BS. You know what I'm saying? So instead of trying to frame it like as if everybody else is just more motivated than Black Americans, the truth is immigrants and transplants in general, because if you look at the Black Americans who move over to Ghana, they see more opportunity in Ghana than native Ghanaians. You know what I'm saying? So I think instead of framing it like, the FBA versus the people who move around America or move to America, like that's a false dichotomy or a false comparison from the get-go, because like I said, the people who move, they're already motivated. I didn't move from damn Ghana to Texas for my kids to go off and major in damn art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. And even if you're moving from North Carolina to California, you ain't doing bullshit.
I commend you, Quincy. I commend you for that honesty. The only pushback I would give, in my experience, because not everyone who's coming to America that's from the Caribbean or is African is for the same reason. My only thing would be, when my parents came here, we were duped. According to my mother, I was like, why did we move to America? You know what I'm saying? If we were doing so good, we had 3 houses there and stuff like that. Why did we move here? And he said, people were coming back saying, oh, you make all this money in America. You can make more money in America than you can over here. So it's like, you know what? We got the money. We could do it. We have relatives there. Let's see if we can make more money there. It's not necessarily like, hey, not saying that's what you're saying. Oh, we're downtrodden here. Nothing's popping here or whatever. It's for every reason why everyone comes to America, even white people, which is not a part of this conversation because no one looks at white immigrants coming here. All immigrants come here for the same reason. So if my mother knew what was happening, and if that the American dream is just that, a dream, she would have stayed where we were. But I just want to say, but I do commend you for your honesty and not conflating a lot of things that doesn't need to be compared.
Gotcha. I'm gonna throw to Steve. Steve, talk to us, brother.
Hey, yo, what's good? What's good?
Not much.
So, to G's point, G is correct about there being less friction. The friction is typically experienced in employment. I posted the study in the chat. In the perception of names when people going to get hired. Typical African American names are perceived differently from continental African, specifically continental African names. So to sit up here and say it's not there's like to act like for him to say that it's less friction is just so far out there is like kind of crazy. Number two, we got to understand why people are using these narratives and what's the point of these narratives, and why I just like to avoid them altogether, because this is model minority speak, and typically is used against Black Americans to say, well, hey, you look at African who just came over here 2 days ago. He made it. Why can't you? And we should be really, if we're going to talk about it in context, we should talk about it, why these devices are prevalent and what's the point of them. The point of them is not nothing constructive. The point of them is to say Black Americans is blowing away their opportunity, which is crazy to me.
Read the last sentence, Q. I like that last sentence.
Which is crazy to me. If you understand anything about Black Americans, we don't even get access to the franchise until 1968. By the time 1968 come along, immigrants can come over here too in 1968. So this idea that we got like some grand head start is just like ahistorical. It's not based in any factual reality. Like the biggest wealth handouts in America was the Homestead Act of 1888. You had another Homestead Act in 1940, and then you had the New Deal, and then you had the Great Society programs. The largest transfers of wealth in the United States history, Black folks was largely left out of those. So where is this Head Start that everybody talking about? Then
you could definitely argue New Deal,
but then you just ignoring the history of Black Americans' very specific relationship with white Americans. We have a very specific relationship with white Americans that nobody, and y'all know I'm not no FBA dude. Y'all know I'm not one of them types. But like we gotta be historically accurate around here if we gonna like talk about it.
Talk to me.
But like first off, the name thing, the typical African American names is not Lakeisha. It's more Ashley's and Brittany's and white European Black names than quote unquote hood or ghetto or whatever.
Go read the study. If you
I'll let you talk. Hold on.
Go read the study. If you upset with the methodology,
argue with the methodology. I know. Let me finish. I'll let you speak. I didn't interrupt. Now, we all know how African names are treated in jobs and schools. Like nobody's looking at no African name and like putting them above a Johnny, a Quentin, a Jason, or any other the white names that we have out here. Like, so get that out of here.
Maybe Johnny, but Quentin definitely not.
Relax.
And then the whole history aspect and stuff. We talking about right now, and the same thing you bring it up about the history and stuff, and we don't have a Head Start. Nobody's told me what Head Start do Africans and Caribbean immigrants have either.
I claim less friction, so I don't want to move the field goal post either. He just gave you empirical evidence of where there's less friction. He just posted an empirical.
I posted the studies,
peer reviewed study, and you at the university, right?
No, you can find any study to back y'all opinion. Like
so no evidence is good enough. So first you ask for evidence.
It agrees with you, but you didn't check no sources of this study. Steve put up a study and you say, "Oh, he posted a study." You don't
he
know
just
what
posted the link. Hey Black, it's right there for everybody to see. It's right there for everybody to see. Q pulled it up on the screen.
Who can verify a study in 30 seconds?
You got it.
It's because if it's your
now we just question sources. Everything's fake news. Everything's fake news.
But I'm not even here.
African names are getting jobs over American names. Like,
hey, Black, I'm not even really here to argue. I'm not even really here to argue the merits of this, right? I'm really here to argue: do we understand why this narrative could exist? It's model myth, like. It's like we understand the model minority myth when we talking about Asians. Like we understand that we conceptualize it. We know what the point of it is. But all of a sudden, motherfuckers act like the model minority myth doesn't exist when we start talking about Caribbeans and continental Africans.
But we're not ignoring.
It's the same.
We're not ignoring
it's the same
none of that.
device.
We're not ignoring that. That's the initial video that popped this off with the doctor is saying that nobody's ignoring none of that. But if we're talking about the exceptions, these model minorities, even the word model is an exception. But this is not the rule of Black immigrants coming into this country being the model minorities.
But A Black, the Journal of Social Psychology, Volume 160.
Most Africans he knows drive Uber drivers and taxis. He's not here right now.
So wait. So basically, if that study goes against what my experience is, that means I'm a liar.
No, it's not. It's not about you being a liar.
Y'all gotta chill because
it's not about you being a liar.
You ask for evidence. This man provides empirical, peer-reviewed research. And now all of a sudden, people are like, "I'm a liar." Like all y'all said was, "Where's the evidence that there's less friction?"
But I'm piggybacking off of that.
I give you another prime example. That's even a step, even a deeper analysis of when you go compare English-speaking African immigrants to French-speaking African immigrants. Like there's a difference in the way in which those groups is treated. Like
so how are French speaking immigrants treated? Are they treated better?
French-speaking Africans have a lower chances than an English-speaking African.
Okay,
like G said earlier, It's just less friction.
I would love to see that.
You got the language barrier because
It's just less friction when you coming from these English, when you coming from these places that come from under British rule. Look at all the immigrants that we always talk about: the Indians, the Pakistanis, the Nigerians. Do y'all think it's a coincidence that those are also the immigrants that come from places that speak English, who were ruled by the British, who went to learn Queen's English? Like, them motherfuckers not coming over here don't know no English?
Because
I find it very ironic.
The French Africans, they go to Paris. They go to French European countries.
Yep.
Like, you go where you
Cameroon.
can
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, can I add something? Can I throw
There's a
something in there?
much simpler explanation that you guys are missing here. But
Yeah. Let me.
Who is that? Chico.
Yeah.
Let's let Chico hop in real quick. Then Quincy, we'll go to you.
All right. Yeah. Salute. Thanks for having me up. I'm gonna be real brief. First of all, Black Americans are the premium blacks, the blacks with the highest standard of living, highest income, the most wealthiest blacks on the planet. So shout out to Black Americans. But this all comes down to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I posted in the back chat just in case you guys need a reference. So when African immigrants come here to America, they are,
I know a psych major when I see him,
in the lower rungs of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They are looking to secure, food, shelter, clothing, primarily. Then they move up. Then, employment, resources. Then, a relationship, wife, children, and then they move up from there. Black Americans, because you're already the wealthiest blacks, you're already in the top two rungs of that hierarchy of needs. So you're looking for different things. Your focus is on different things. You're looking for esteem and self-actualization. You want, to be recognized, and you want, to change maybe your name. Maybe you want to be foundational Black American. Maybe you want to be, Black American Negro freedman. You're focused on the higher rungs of this hierarchy of needs, where if you're an immigrant, you're at the bottom three. So when you're focused on the bottom three, that translates into economic output, economic success, in a way that focusing on the top doesn't. This is you're hungrier to just get the basics and build up from there. You don't have time to worry about esteem or politics or anything else. You're just worried about getting your housing in order, getting your employment in order, getting your education in order, getting your family in order. That's it. So this is the key difference between an African immigrant, and I would say a Caribbean immigrant too, and a Black
Speak
American.
for yourself, buddy. Speak for yourself.
But let me interject real quick, because like the second ring says safety needs, and I would argue, regardless of how much money you had to do, this is the thing about being Black in America. Having money don't save you from being Black. And when it comes to Black people's safety in America, it's not something that we I don't think that that's a general consensus that the community feels overall safe. Like, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily feel that way, especially when you talk about if a cop's behind you, etc., like things like that. So I can't say that the average Black person is walking around feeling personal security based on their circumstances and the environment around them. I can't necessarily agree with that.
Really quickly. Shout out to a Discord legend, one of our favorites in the Discord, Fat Boy. He sent in a super chat. He said, shout out FBA Steve, FBA G, and FBA Quincy, holding it down in Trey's absence. Free FBA Trey.
Hey, I'm FBA too, Fat Boy.
you ain't making no FBA points, Johnny. You quiet over there. You getting white folk the nigga pass.
Africa a little bit more.
You gave him the nigga pass earlier. I don't think like you got some trekking to do.
Just to land the plane real quick. So
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, just to land. Okay, so African immigrants were just as Black as in terms of when you look, you can't, a police officer can't tell this person is Nigerian, this person is Jamaican, this person.
Yeah, but you said that we're looking for esteem, and my point is that when I look at this rung that you brought up, and I read safety needs, it says personal security, no violence, crime, war, health and well-being. No, our health is not the best as a community. Stable environment. No, a lot of us don't come from stable environments. Financial security. No, we're actually one of the least financially successful here. In safety nets, which mostly the community doesn't have safety nets to fall back on. Like
my overall is that the immigrant is focused on the bottom 3. You guys are focused on the top 2.
That's what I'm saying. We're not focused on the top 2. We still focused on safety needs too. You failing to realize that.
How? Yeah, I think your hierarchy thing is personalized. I don't think you can apply that to all people. Understanding people is not.
If you want to say that our bottom rung is taken care of, I'll give you that. Like most niggas, even if you not working, can get like housing somewhere and clean water. I'll give you that. But when you go right above that, read what it says: personal security, employment, resources, health, and property. Those are not rings that are checked for the Black community in America. They're just not.
Yeah, I agree with G on check away.
Hey, can I jump in? It's crazy for me to disagree to a certain degree. But I do actually feel like what's my guy who brought up the chart? I do think there's a lot of truth to it, and I mentioned it earlier that when you have a motivated people who leave a whole city and move to a whole nother city, or more importantly, move from a whole nother country to another country, they have different priorities and they have different than the people who actually lived where they land. I'm in Atlanta. Yeah, what's up?
That's a whole fact. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm in Atlanta, right? I'm in Atlanta. So not only do I have people who move from whole other countries, like New York or California or wherever, we got folks who move from whole other countries who move here and from whole other cities. And so I do think it is like a different priority, like when you compare it to the native population. And I guess you can call it privilege. You can't call it privilege, where Black Americans, there is a certain I can't see the chart, but some of that stuff on the chart. Oh no, but some of that stuff on the chart, like a lot of times Black Americans ain't really, that's not like high priority for us. You know what I mean? Now, unless you're getting it out the mud, unless you just coming from some hard times and you really got some individual motivation to get it out, get it out the hood or whatever spot you come from, and you trying to make it. But I think overall there is like our bottom as Black Americans isn't the same bottom for Black immigrants. And
I don't think that they're the same bottom either.
What bottom is that specifically?
I don't think
like our bottom isn't we get deported and we going back to another country. Our bottom is we just stand in the hood, maybe in the projects or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
we gonna have running water and we can get food stamps,
right?
For example,
that's our bottom. You know what I mean? Versus like the Caribbean or African immigrant, like y'all's bottom is you get sent back. Wherever you came from.
I'm going to chime in there right there. Statistically speaking, American-borns commit more crimes than
that's not what I'm talking about, man.
Maybe that is a factor that scares them into it, but that's a statistic.
Come on, Kofi.
That's the statistic.
We was doing good, Kofi.
Why are we getting mad at facts? I'm not trying to like throw shade or anything like that.
But no, I think that it detracts from the
numbers lie too.
But really,
that's not true.
I think it like to avoid from taking steps backwards. I feel like we're actually building somewhere.
Wow, I say
think
something y'all don't like. Y'all just get triggered.
No, but like so Kofi, if you want,
what was the relevance?
I didn't say
what was the relevance? Nobody was taking nobody was taking no shots at Africans, and all of a sudden you just come out of nowhere and say Black folks is just criminals.
I did not say that. I did not say that.
All right, fellas, listen. We'll revisit this point. I do think that Quincy made an interesting point when it came down to the idea of Black American privilege, and not just where the bottom could be at, but how there are there is the privilege of taking certain things. If we use the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, taking certain things for granted. If we say like the bottom one or two things in comparison, like for example, and I think that he used a great example with people moving, where if we talk about, and we probably all know some people that move to either New York or they move to LA in pursuit of a career, right? Or Atlanta, honestly. It's another spot. And them moving to those spaces in pursuit of the career, as soon as they hit ground, they know they about to get that call center job and they about to work their ass off, and every waking hour that they have outside of that, they're going to be trying to hit whatever street to find opportunities to get this entertainment or whatever job, right? They come in feet to the ground, running, motivated to get a thing done. In comparison, there is a bunch of people in, let's say, LA or Hollywood with that exact same dream. But the luxury of growing up around it becomes a place where you could take something for granted and become docile inside the idea of what's readily available to you and the opportunity that it is just to be within proximity.
But just to piggyback off that, if you're an immigrant, you don't have the luxury of self-actualization. You don't even have the luxury of those top two things. Maybe the next generation will, but if you're first generation, you're just trying to establish the bottom three rungs, and maybe your children can reach those top rungs. You see what
I
I'm saying?
disagree with that, because you're
It's a
trying to
whole
say that can't be accomplished in one lifetime, and that's not true.
Okay,
generally,
for some people, but I'm saying for most people, if you are an adult and you come to this country, a strange man in a strange land, and you have to establish everything, you come with nothing. You got to build from the ground up. It's going to take your entire life to hit that self-actualization, where if you're born in this country, you have access to those top two rungs quicker.
So what's the mark where, when you first come into this country, where's the mark where you can finally sit back and relax and say, you know what, I could partake in other functions in America? I would say, okay, I got here, I have education, I have a good paying job, and I have a pretty decent home. Wouldn't from that point on?
Can you retire early? Can you do you have to work until you're 65, or can you stop working in your 40s?
Okay, you kind of okay, but I think what you're not understanding is that that's a good goal. Most people in this country cannot retire early. That's the goal, to retire early. But most people don't retire early. They work until they're 60, 62, 65 and collect unemployment. If they have a pension, that's fine.
Most people don't even have the funds when they retire. They just retire. Like they don't even have necessarily like it planned out financially after that. It's just that they done working.
Like my aunt, she's first generation, right? She was born again, and she came here when she was pretty much an adult. She retired probably like 5 years ago, but she had a good job with a pension. You see what I'm trying to say? So she's fine right now. Most people in America cannot retire early.
Hey, look, can I jump in real quick?
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So one I'm jotting down notes while we talking, man. One of the biggest things is that Black immigrants tolerate more than Black Americans. I know y'all like to act like y'all like y'all
tolerate.
Hey, look, you can sit here and act like y'all play it tough.
No, I'm not acting. I don't have to act for you. I'm acting. You made a claim. I'll let you go ahead.
Look, you one person. You are one person speaking for
No.
your sphere.
I'm not speaking for sphere. No. Unlike you, I don't see people as a monolith. Oh, I saw 5 of them, so they all act like that. I think that's where you're coming from. So I'm asking you to clarify, what do you when you say talk about your own experience and what you've witnessed?
Okay.
I can say the same thing in reverse. I don't look at all Black Americans as coons and kissing white people ass. I don't do that. I looked at everybody as an individual person, knowing that they are not representative of everybody.
We was on a good path. You get
let him finish his point, man. Let him finish his point.
So my main point. So my main point is Black immigrants they're not saddled like who was it mentioned that earlier that Black Americans, we deal with white Americans our whole lives. Our uncles, our aunties, our grandparents, we all got stories about crackers. It is what it is. We all got stories about it, right? And that does spill into our mindset, right? And that is like a 180 dichotomy from people who move voluntarily leave a whole black country, right? Whether it's African or Caribbean, you left a whole black country to come to America. It's two different mindsets. And the fact is, like for real, like they do have a higher threshold of what they deal with and what they accept from white America. A lot of the small transgressions that black Americans will call out, they'll let it ride. And just to be real with you, I can't remember who I told this to, but I mentioned, I said, look, I was looking at the Oscars one time, right? The past Oscars, and I saw the lady who was the voice of April O'Neil in the Ninja Turtles, and I saw what's your girl who played Harriet Tubman, and I told my lady, I said, hey, one of my biggest concerns is that black immigrants will come in and they are willing to play the game in ways that black Americans won't, because we go draw a line somewhere. We gonna let y'all know this ain't cool. That little joke you made, that shit ain't cool. You know what I mean? Black Americans will draw a line in ways that black immigrants won't, right? And my fear is because white America, this is America, right? Because white America has the biggest platforms, the worldwide platforms, and if you have black immigrants come in and they're willing to play the game, that they in a weird way they would usurp black representation and they'll just take our spot. You know what I mean? Like as much as black Americans have done to fight, for what the little slice of the pie that we've had in America, black immigrants will come in and they'll play the game in ways that we won't play it. Like Denzel Washington that made it clear it's stuff he won't do. You know what I'm saying? And if we see it, if you're looking right now, it's clear that Hollywood is leaning, and this is like specifically about Hollywood. It is clear that Hollywood is leaning towards like black British actors, and that's no
Pay
coincidence.
them less
Like
too. They pay them a whole lot less too. But go ahead.
but right, but also but black British actors with like I ain't gonna I ain't gonna they play the game in ways that we don't play the game. That's all I'm saying. That their tolerance is higher than our tolerance. It's a lot of stuff that we'll call out that they won't call out.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that because, like, I've gotten into it with Africans over this because large times they come from places where they're the majority. So culturally, they don't typically fully understand our relationship with white people, the shit we deal with white people and stuff. And because, like Quincy said, they are willing to, I'm not going to say, be bitches or nothing like that, but the things that, we would stand up for or be against sometimes, it's not a big deal to them because, they're coming from places where, they see white people differently. Although they have colonization, some of them might even have full control over there. They're still like the visual, the optical majority from where they're coming from. Whereas we kind of been fighting. We've been fighting. Like you can go to parts of Africa. I don't know about the Caribbean as much, and you cannot see white people for weeks, for months and stuff if you want. So that is some truth to that. That if you come with that mindset of like this whatever, then you might rise a little faster or a little higher in certain areas, and then also the white people might be more tolerable towards you because like, all right, I can treat this African any kind of way, and he gonna accept it. And what we would see as maybe demeaning or disrespectful, they're not maybe looking at it fully as that. It's like it's still a job for me. I'm still getting paid, and and they might not even be catching some of the cultural nuances and the disrespect that we would from white people because they're not around them as much. But I've gotten into it Africans. I don't like how some Africans, even treat some white people. But I also understand, why it's that way. So it's some truth to what he's saying,
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Black. I appreciate that.
So what I agree with what he's saying, except for again, this FBA thing with their generalizations, because I have.
I'm Black American. Stop saying FBA, man, please. I'm Black American.
Again, even if you're not
Quincy,
FBA,
I didn't know you, man. Quincy, man, hey, man, hey, yo, Quincy, you a real. Hey, I fuck with you too, bro, man. Hey, man, go ahead, man. I interrupt.
Yeah, Kofi.
Okay, you may not be FBA, fine, understand that, but the points you're making align with FBA ideology is what I'm saying, because you're making generalizations, right? There's no nuance into what you're saying. Everything is just a generalization. So I'm not saying what you're saying is a total lie. Even what A Black is saying, again, it's not a total lie, but at least there's nuance in what he's saying. You're making generalizations. So when you say tolerance, I could say the same thing. In my experience, I've seen Black Americans that have those same attributes of those Africans that would take ish from white people. I've seen a lot of Black Americans take a lot of shit from white people. And I'm not gonna say, unlike you, well, because they're this and they're from that. I have family in Georgia. I lived in Georgia for a while. I live in Gwinnett County, right? I have family that lived there. I had an uncle that told me one time he installs security systems. He said he went to an all Black couple's house one time, and it was him and this white dude, right? He went there. It's a all Black couple. The old Black ladies looking at him. I'm not trying to show shade, Johnny, or anything like that. Just to give you a picture, my uncle was like Johnny's complexion, right? He went with a white boy. The old woman was just giving him nasty looks. The old woman gave the white boy a drink. Say, do you want something to drink? The white boy was like, yeah, I want something to drink. Thank you. Didn't offer him anything, right? So I'm like, that's insane. That's crazy. I'm not gonna be like you. We're all Black Americans from the South, especially Georgia. They take, saying they still think that it's still the Reconstruction. They still acting like they sharecroppers. That's ignorant to say. There's nuances and there's nuances. Yeah.
I think what you're saying is true, man. It's always exceptions. I think overall that Black Americans have a more defiant spirit. I think if we go back to our early conversation of soft power, our real soft power was and is like our revolutionary spirit. When we talk about civil rights and we talk about how we rebelled, we inspired the diaspora. Like it's many Black African leaders that will tell you that they was inspired by Martin and Malcolm and these leaders. So we are naturally more defiant because we've had like more resistance and up closeness to white power that's kind of created this spirit. Are there Uncle Toms and Coons and people that bow down now? Of course, like it is on both sides. But I think overall, like one of our things, our biggest export is our revolutionary spirit, is that defiance that we don't take the same shit that everybody take. And yeah, you can find some niggas that can and will, but overall, like that's generally not how we are. I think that's what he's saying is like you have people that come over here, they are more docile, they are more submissive, and they will take some shit that we won't take. And that's not even just Africans. You got the Mexicans that will do it too. You got other cultures and immigrants that will take the shit too, because they haven't had the close proximity for generations to whiteness that has created this spirit of like, yo, we've been taking this shit. So yeah, you're not about to get that off with us. Otherwise, a lot of that shit is new and it will grow in them too eventually, but they ain't been dealing with it for like 400 years. Like they might have been here for 40 years or 4 years and shit.
But it seems like you're saying is like what you're saying is that it's like you're saying something, but you're taking back what you're saying. Yeah, there's Uncle Tom's, but we had a history of dealing with white people directly 400 years to this current day. So again, even with that said, you still got Uncle Tom's, which is like a bunch of, as well as Black immigrants that come here. That's also Uncle Tom's. The common denominator is that in Black society, you got Uncle Tom's. So doing this. Well,
but they're not that influential. Like they're really the exceptions. Like when you talk about the revolution and shit, that's always been a small part of any community. The people that revolt, the people that march, the people that kind of cause these things.
Dude, we have a little bit of hold on. We have a little bit of Pan-African versus Pan-African thing. I do understand the influence that Black Americans have had. Remember, America is the biggest stage in the world. So anything that happens, especially with Black people know the history of what Black people have been through here, is going to be magnified. But I don't think other African and Caribbean nations is looking to see what Black Americans are doing to see what they're going to do next in their own places. Like in places like that, no one's thinking about Black Americans. No one's thinking about them.
Kofi,
Yeah.
Let me hop in really quickly. So, because again, the conversation is moving smoothly. I don't really want to hop in and do too much directing, but just to where everybody kind of is able to get their input in. Y'all see the timer at the bottom. It's a minute and a half on each one, to where when a new person kind of starts speaking, I'm gonna just click it. When it ends, I'm gonna just give you the signal like that, kind of end your point, and then we'll jump over to the next person, just to make sure everybody kind of says their piece. We do have someone new to the panel. Another one of the favorites. Shout out, he just joined the Discord. Make sure that y'all join the Discord. Unc, what's going on? I'm gonna push the timer. Talk to us.
Yeah.
What up?
What's going on, everybody? What's up? What's up? Yo, you know, I was listening to what everybody's saying, and everybody's kind of getting upset about, you know, immigrants and different things, but it is somehow, even though the way Kofi's saying that they came over here and they struggled and they did, but that's not everybody's story. That's his story. And that might be just his, it might not be like everybody might not come over here and get the same things and go through the same way, but it is some ways, sometimes it is an easier path for certain people, even though some of them are people of color. And with that being said, you know, it's just different stories with that. But speaking of we talking about the English people coming over here and taking, you know, doing, it's because American Black society is the most copied people that's out here. And if you look at it, all those Black actors that's coming over here, they're getting paid less. They're copying just American Black culture. So with that being said, with them getting paid less, what they're actually doing is they're making the market less lucrative for Black actors that's here in the United States. But they are doing such a good job at mimicking Black Americans that what's the need? If I could pay this person this, it's just what it is. No matter what goes on in whatever society, the person say what they want to say. The world, all right. The world mimics Black people and loves to mimic us, and that's it.
Gotcha. Quincy, I think you want to hop in. Then we'll go to Steve.
Okay. You know, all right, cool. Well, you know what? Piggybacking off of what he just said about, you know, mainly Black British acting in America. I've always had that thought that we always say, "Hey, well, don't buy where you're not hired." So if Hollywood won't hire Black Americans, then I'm not supporting the movie. I'm a bootleg it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. So
you went to the movies to see Sinners, didn't you?
Oh, well, come on. That's Michael B. Okay. That's Michael B. Jordan. Oh, I saw Sinners twice in the movies, and I 100% had a bootleg that I done watched about 17 times. So, you know, I love that movie. I love that movie, man.
Hey, send a copy over. I need the bootleg too.
Man, look, hey, real talk, man. Look, I missed y'all broadcast last week. I was late. I was working on some in the basement, man. I missed it. I was trying to call in, man, but I was late, so that's on me. So then circle back. I forgot, somebody made a point about something, but I jotted down that no one moves to America to fight the system, you know. And I think when we talk about Black Americans and our history and just spirit of fighting against injustice in America, I think we really got to understand one of the biggest things we got to understand. And Kofi, you can feel how you want to feel about this, man. But dude, nobody from the Caribbeans to Africa to India to Asia to Australia to the UK to across the world to China, nobody moves to America to help us fight this fight, man. Like we done had this fight with these white folks.
They moved to be a part of it.
Right. They 100%, and this is the thing. They
Hey, Quincy,
literally.
we're gonna come back to you. We're gonna come back to you.
Man,
Adhere into the time.
Can I go after Steve?
Yeah, we'll go. Steve, Kofi, Johnny. Did you want to hop in, or we'll go back to Quincy?
No, I'm just listening. This is a great combo. I'm just
Okay,
listening.
okay. No, yeah, we'll go. Steve, Kofi, Quincy. Steve, talk to us.
Just to wrap up my final point, the original question, is it a useful comparison? Simply for me, it's a no. I just believe it's a divisive narrative, and typically is not used in good faith. It's usually used in bad faith against whatever you want to call them, African Americans, B1, whatever we going by. And so that's why I typically don't like to engage in it, because I do feel like it's just like that's what it's typically being used for. When we can just, because if we want to just nitpick like the dude said in the original video posted, and we go top 10% for top 10%, it's not even like close. That's just, that's the reality of the math. And I really don't have, I pretty much agree with what a lot's being said up here, but that's all I had to add to it, man.
Okay.
It's not useful. Just so we can all say we answered the question. I don't know if everybody answered the question, but I don't think it's a useful comparison at all. And that's pretty much it.
No, for sure. Shout out Steve. We do go on wild tangents, and they can kind of take us anywhere. But Kofi, I think that you wanted to respond to something Quincy said. Then Quincy, you had the floor to kind of rebuttal back.
So basically, I want to go back where this whole narrative of Black British actors only going in on Black American actors, which is false. I don't know what things you think is false. So anyone look at The Walking Dead, the guy, the main character, I even know he was British. He's a British actor. If you guys are into Marvel, Daredevil, that guy, he's also a British actor. So no one's saying white people aren't saying, oh, you got these English people pretending to be white Americans. It's only us saying that nonsense. It's a job. They're looking at another market. They're trying to get people from another market. And to me, that takes a lot of talent to convincingly sound like someone that you're not. That is the art of acting, right? I also wanted to say to what Quincy was saying. He's again lying again. He says he's not FBA, but it's another FBA talking point saying that no one comes here to fight. He's forgetting about Marcus Garvey. He's forgetting about Stokely Carmichael. He's forgetting about Kwame Nkrumah. He's forgetting about all these people that were here from the diaspora that supported civil rights. And I pretty much agree with Steve. This is a good conversation to have, but it is a divisive conversation. And only people is winning is white supremacy, because white people will have this type of conversation, but they know there's bigger fish to fry. They know that they're the global minority, and their manipulation and influence is the only thing that's keeping them on top. And us engaging into the validity of saying like, well, you're a Black this and you're a Black that, you're not Black like me, is just insane. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Quincy, talk to us.
All right, man. Damn, man. Kofi was doing so good, man. All right, man. So look. All right. Last thing. White folks got 1,000 channels on TV. And for every channel, they got 100 shows. So I don't care about what white folks do. That ain't my problem. My problem is that when Black folks have limited opportunities in America, in Hollywood, and Black folks around the world, specifically in the UK, make their problems our problem. They make their problem that they don't have opportunities in their country. They make it our problem by running over here and competing with us. So that is what it is. So another thing, man, look, when I say I'm not FBA, I am FBA by definition, right? But when I say I'm not FBA, I'm saying that I was with the delineation movement before FBA was even, the acronym was even created. I mentioned to y'all beforehand, it was Serene Sensei that really opened my eyes to Black Americans being a specific ethnicity, being a specific.
I thank you for this, because I say this often, that like the reparations movement and these conversations didn't just start.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
Like if you've been around, like some people feel favorable and some people feel unfavorable at HBCU. But like since I was on campus, these are conversations that were being had, and there were thought leaders that were having these conversations. But yeah, didn't mean to step on it.
It's all good. It's all. We talked beforehand. I think you like a tad bit younger than me. These conversations weren't had back when I was in school. That's why I say Seren Sensei around 2016, 17, 18 was when I was exposed to it. And for me, like I said, it's the delineation movement, right? And the way I look at it, y'all could take it with a grain of salt. Take it how you want to take it, dude. The FBA is kind of like the guards at the kingdom. They're protecting the culture, right? And then the ADOS, they're like more like the higher guard who gets into like the politics of stuff. That's what ADOS is. Like I don't do too much of ADOS, these days, but I know that Yvette Cornell, that's what they on to right now.
Yeah, you're saying that each part of the movement has its own
right
usefulness and purpose. I
right.
get
Right, but the movement itself is delineation of Black Americans to let everybody know, hey, we are our own ethnicity, our own culture that y'all can't stake claim to, as just like your Caribbeans. The Caribbeans came from the transatlantic slave trade. Y'all came from that just like we did. So if y'all can be unique and stand on your own, then we can too. That's ultimately what I'm saying. What I'm saying now.
Can I respond to that?
Dude, ain't nothing to respond to. Ain't nothing to respond to.
And then we'll go to G.
Yeah. Basically, the whole. I have no problem. Again, I say this over again. It always falls on deaf ears to people who have your ideology. I am not against any Black people, unlike other people may feel against getting reparations. How you get? Because we got the same enemy. My problem to you in that. Your description of it is that to delineate in order to recognize that you're your own people, the world already knows your own people. You said you've been saying this over and over again. CARICOM, Black people from the Caribbean didn't have to throw Black Americans on the bus or throw Africans on the bus to have a claim. So what I'm saying, what you're saying, I'm not saying that's your intention, but I find it very hateful and disingenuous in saying, well, you know what, some other people that is my open enemy did something to me, but these other people that also suffer the same thing, I'm gonna throw them under the bus so I could outshine them for some reason. I don't get it. No one is infringing or can infringe on your claim of what's happening to Black Americans in America. It's go back to what Steve said, is a very divisive type of rhetoric, because no one, even if you have someone from the Caribbean saying, well, I want reparations too from America, they're freaking idiots. Why would you give credence and validate what they're saying? Vice versa. Someone from North Carolina goes to Guyana or Jamaica and say, well, I want reparations from CARICOM. Those are idiots. It just doesn't make any sense what you're saying. That's it.
Gotcha. All right. G, talk to us.
Is there a question or?
Oh, I was just throwing, like, I can re-ask the question, or I think you've already given your general take on it. You could just kind of go with the conversation evolves to, or if not, I can throw it to one of the guys.
Yeah, I don't have a response to what was said.
Say it again.
I don't have a response to what Quincy and Kofi was just talking about.
Johnny, can't hear you, brother, man.
No, I ain't got no response. I was just listening.
Oh man, you called in, then you dropped back out. Keep going, Johnny.
Nah, I ain't.
Well, I throw it back there. I throw it to Unc then.
No, re-ask the question. I see.
I think that the main question is comparing Black Americans to Black immigrants a good comparison?
No, it's not. I mean, I think it's a different struggle. There's some similarities. I think, there's different things we can learn from each other, but like a comparison, it's a totally different struggle, and it's a totally different. A lot of immigrants are dealing with colonial stuff. They're dealing with whatever thing happened in their particular country. A lot of them, when they come here, they've dealt with that, so they have a different set of skills than a lot of people that are here that are currently dealing with the oppression. So the compare, I don't think it's a fair or a good comparison. I think there's things that Black FBA people could learn from the diaspora. I think it's a lot of things the diaspora could learn from, FBA.
You ain't never getting your FBA card, Johnny.
Hey, fuck what y'all talking about. I'm
doing good,
lineage.
Johnny. You're doing good, Johnny.
I'm lineage.
I'm joking, Johnny.
Y'all can't take something.
Listen, you threw the perfect alley right there. It's a joke.
Yeah, I get it. But
I agree with the sentiments, but
my joke
was there. You laid that one out.
My joke is that I'm lineage, and I can say whatever about FBA, and y'all ain't gonna take my lineage away.
But they got words for you too.
I got words for them too.
He'll tell the weather. He'll tell the weather.
Yeah, you a tether lover. You a tether lover.
I ain't got nothing. I ain't say nothing about. I love me.
I hear you, brother. I hear you, brother.
Yo.
That's funny
though. Talk to us.
Yeah, I don't think it's a fair comparison between the two of them, and you can't really compare because they'll never know our struggle because they ain't been here, and they want to know it, and they'll tell you that they going through it, but nobody will ever know the struggle of those of us that can go back and look generational back and see what we've been through. Yes, we might have some comparisons, but nobody goes through what we go through, because regardless of what, like I have said before, we are the only people on this whole earth that others that look like us to come here and look down on us. Nobody else is treated the way we are treated, but yet we are the people that control almost everything for us, fashion, whatever that goes on out here. Everybody mimics us, but no one wants to be exact us, but they want to be like us. It's the most ignorant thing in the world. And to me, that's why you can't compare it, because no one's trying to be like nobody else. But you look around the world, everything that people do, our culture is the culture that's mimicked more than anybody in the whole world. But everybody look down on it. These people are stupid, to me, for that.
Yeah. Can I ask Uncle a question?
He got 15 seconds. After the 15 seconds, you got it.
Now I do understand. Like for Paul Mooney, everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga, right? So I totally get it. But again, you're using general terms. So you saying someone that was here from from let's say the 1900s or to the late 1800s, they don't understand the black struggle, the Black American struggle is what you're saying?
That's what you're asking me?
Yeah.
You saying that someone that hasn't been here, anybody that's been here,
someone that has been here since the turn of the 19th century, they don't know.
I'm trying to answer your question. I'm saying if someone has been here for over 100 years, they're kind of almost graduated into it. They've been through it. They've seen it. If you've been here, if your family's been here for 100 years, you damn near you less than 50 years, or you know what I'm saying, almost 100 years. You kind of close to when slavery ended. So you kind of got the grasp of whatever from there. You're no longer, you're not an immigrant if you've been here 100 years.
All right, so you kind of consider to my point, because there were people, not a lot, but there were people from Africa and the Caribbean that were already here. So what
is your point? You're not making a point. You're just making a statement.
Fellas, before y'all go into like a deep back and forth, Old Man has entered the building. Old Man, talk to us.
1, 2, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Where is A Black TV? He always gets off this panel when I get up on here.
He's scared. He running.
I don't understand where he's coming from, because it's obvious, especially if he works in the university system. There's scholarships specifically for Caribbeans, Haitians, Africans that FBAs can't get, but all of those people qualify for art scholarships. So right there is an example. You don't need any documentation. You guys provided documentation. What's his problem?
Can you name me those scholarships? This has been a something that's
You
been
research it and come back next Wednesday, okay?
So you don't have the name of them.
Listen. You research it and prove me wrong.
No, I shouldn't have to prove your own.
No,
You
sir.
made a
Stop
claim,
being difficult.
So I'm just
Stop
asking
being a smart
what
aleck.
it is.
Coffee. I was going to get to you next. Don't worry, you'll have your minute.
You're not giving me anything.
Calm down, young man. Calm down. So this is what I'm trying to say. All this stuff is obvious. Coffee, you know that exists in the university.
I don't know anything. I'm asking.
Did you go to the university?
Tell me.
Google it.
You're on mute. Pod, G-Pod.
Yo, Kofi, just let this nigga go for a minute. Pause. Like, just don't cut him off for a second.
Just let him go, Kofi. We let you go.
All right, so I do have a question for Kofi. Kofi, we don't need your permission to do whatever we want to do or to do what we feel we need to do.
Just don't include me. Just say what you're gonna say.
No, this was my next response.
To let you go.
This was my next response. This is outside of the A Black University thing. We don't need your permission. So why do you think we need your permission?
You sound very insecure because I never either said that.
How you present your information.
I'm responding to you now.
Okay, go ahead, son.
I'm responding
Go
to
ahead,
you
son.
You sound very insecure.
Go ahead.
Because I never implied or insinuate that anybody needs my permission for anything. This is just a conversation that we're having and we're just hashing out. All the thing I would say, my contention in this whole conversation, that people are on a monolith and you can't use one standard for everybody. And that's on all sides. That is my contention and my objective in this conversation.
Okay, when we talking specifically about foundational Black American or Black American, if you don't like the word foundational, what makes you think your voice matters in this if you're not of our lineage?
Because I could fucking say whatever the fuck I want, and I'm able to talk. And just like I'm still responding, just like how I can't tell you what to say and what to think. You can't tell me what to say and what to think and what conversations that I could have. Just like how I can't do that to you, you can't do that to me.
Hey,
it's called America. It's called America, bro.
Let me finish my point. So,
I got you really quickly.
If I go to Jamaica, talking about Jamaican shit, do I have a right to talk about that?
Repeat that again.
If I go to Jamaica and start talking about their lineage and what they need to do and how I feel it should be like, do I have a right to do that?
You could do whatever you want with Jamaica.
Is it a valid response?
If you live in Jamaica and there are Black Americans in Jamaica that go there. I go to Jamaica and there's Black Americans there, cool, and they want to say something about Jamaica. The Jamaican people are one of the most friendly people. They would answer you, especially if you're just curious. They will answer you. They won't get belligerent. They won't get belligerent. I'm still answering. They won't get belligerent.
It's all right.
I'm still responding to you. They won't get belligerent. From my experience, they won't get belligerent and just go crazy. They'll say, "Hey, okay, this is what you misunderstand about Jamaica," and they'll correct you. From my experience,
that's a lie. That's a lie.
Thank you. It's a lie.
Your experience is different. Your experience is different.
I've seen news clips of Jamaicans going off on Haitians showing up in their country. They've been real loud. They've been real loud.
Of Black Americans treating
We
Caribbeans bad.
talking about Jamaicans right now. I've seen new clips of Jamaicans being real loud and vocal about the Haitians showing up in their country unwelcome. So
that happens in my country too. So is that indicative of all Jamaicans?
It's indicative. Yes, it is.
All right, so you're ignorant.
It is.
So you're ignorant. So you're just plain ignorant.
Yes, it is.
You're ignorant with a capital N. Just being ignorant.
All right, fellas. Let's not devolve the conversation. I think that we've had a fairly decent conversation thus far. Like we'll kind of try and keep it to the no ad hominems after show. Those are after show activities. If you hop into Discord, unfiltered chat, those are unfiltered chat activities. Here we're gonna refrain from it. Let's try and stay to the topics, and yeah, again, refrain from any version of ad hominems. But if y'all want to continue engaging, all right. So, matter of fact, before y'all continue engaging, old man, in the conversation, I guess what does make all things fair is that this is a comparison between two separate groups. So in essence, it does invite both groups to talk about each other, where this isn't like a specific FBA only conversation or Caribbean diaspora only conversation.
So it is and it isn't. Every time we're on here, we're talking about how everything relates to FBA, right? So I think if we're going to be fair, you should have something that only a panel discussion one of these Wednesdays that only talk about something Caribbean or wherever Kofi's from, his ancestors are from, so we can get all up in their business and see how he like it. That's what we need to do. Right now, he all up in our business for no reason, just to be a part of something. You're not included.
Maybe, but all right, so.
But this conversation.
Oh man, to be fair though. Like last week as well was a comparison of two separate groups. It was the diaspora and FBA. It was kind of revolving around, I think, like the origins of Black spirituality and Black music per se. But it spoke about both sides of it. Same with this, where it was derived from not a news clip, but an IG clip. But it was the comparison of the top 10% of both not Caribbean, but the diaspora and Black Americans. And if it's a fair comparison. Yeah. So like, again, I understand where the conversation gets convoluted, where if we're only talking about FBA things and it's only FBA business. But again, right now it's an open forum. I don't want to alienate the conversation.
Can I ask a question? Because I have a real quick question. It's open to the panel. See if this will move the goalposts without any hostility. Unc kind of said something on that. He said, "Hey, if you've been here for like 100 years or so like that, you kind of understand the experience." And I do understand, and I do admit there are some Black immigrants that come here that do not know American history, and that's detrimental because white people look at us as all the same. And yes, if they, just like Black Americans who may not know or honor their history and their ancestors, white supremacy will use them against them. Yes, but there are Black immigrants that come here that don't know anything, right? So my question is, piggybacking off what Unc says, if you have someone that's been here, grew up here from, let's say they're first generation American or whatever, right? And they live with Black Americans, good-minded Black Americans that understand the struggle, and they soak up all their knowledge. Wouldn't you say that first generation immigrant in America would just be as good as a Black American? Is just
can I respond to that?
Yeah.
No.
And can I ask
sometimes no, and the reason.
Please elaborate.
The reason why I said no is because you haven't been here long enough. You haven't been here long enough. You don't really know it. What you're doing is you're walking while everybody else is running. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't understand that analogy.
What I'm saying is
I don't understand that analogy.
What I'm saying is that, you know what I'm saying, the Black people, they moving differently. They know different things and they've been through different struggles. You coming up and you might catch the brunt of what's going on bad with them or whatever, but at the same point, it's still not the same. It's still not the same. And
what's not the same?
It's not the same because they're really, you know what I'm saying, they're really not from here.
John, you get that, but you're not breaking down what's not the same. That's why I'm not.
Their heritage is not the same.
Oh man, hold on. Now to answer Kofi, I think like you have a right to have your opinion, like especially like your family that been here. You have a right to have an opinion on what you see and what you observe. But when it comes down to like we talking about the movement, we talking about reparations, we talking about what's owed. there's a lineage-based thing that goes into it as far as when we're talking about what's owed to the lineage. You don't really have a right to tell us what we're owed and what we're not owed. You can, it's okay if you want to, give advice and you.
But John, you're doing a false dichotomy. I never said reparations once, right? I never said reparations.
I also think that he thinks that like FBA people should get specific reparations for slavery.
Right? That's not my. I could have an opinion, and I think Trey and I spoke about this before, and he kind of conceded to the point. If we're all getting reparations from the same people, right? I asked them if let's say for argument's sake that that Caribbeans get reparations first, and we got it. This is the path, and this is how we get it. I expect Black Americans do the same thing. Vice versa, Black Americans get reparations. Like, look, this is the path that we did. Whatever we got it from these white people like that. I expect CARICOM to do the same thing. We're in the same fight. So that I never even mentioned reparations, right? So as far as reparations for Black Americans, I have no dog in that fight because I'm not getting it. The only dog in the fight that I would like to see you get it. You know what I'm saying? Because if you get it, I know eventually I'm going to get it. Vice versa. That's how I am as a Pan-African. I'm not selfish. You know what I'm saying?
And I want to congratulate or thank you for that because that wasn't always your take.
That's also a lie.
So, bro, when you were calling yourself FBA killer, don't think we forgot. You were not talking like
that.
This.
I am. I killed the boy.
You were not talking like this, bro. I've been listening for a while now. You can change your images, your name. I know your voice. I hear you on different panels, bro.
Good. And I'm glad you do, bro.
Can I ask a question?
And I'm still an FBA killer.
All right, Kofi a vampire? Hey, is Kofi a vampire? Did we let this nigga in the house?
Don't let him in.
You did.
I'm fucking.
Is this nigga hiding in plain sight?
Yep.
Nah, I don't hide. I don't suffer from draftomania.
I ain't gonna lie. Hey, shout out, old man. You an OG listener for sure. That's like season 1.
FBA killer crazy.
Almost
that's
a year
wild.
ago.
That's
I killed that ideology. No,
I appreciate that.
He felt that way for a while. He been holding.
Yeah, because the ideology the ideology does change depending on what Tariq Nasheed says. But yeah, I stand by it.
Hey, can I please ask a question though? Can I please?
Yeah. What's going on, Quincy?
Right. So this is my main question. This has been a generic question I've had ever since the delineation conversation has started. Right, Kofi, I'm asking you directly. Is there any topics that you feel like when Black Americans are speaking that you would say, you know what, I ain't a Black American, I'm gonna fall back. I shouldn't speak on that. Are there any topics?
I gave you an example when it comes to the intricate details, and as far as like, I can give you my suggestion and like, hey, this is how you would do reparations.
No. A suggestion means you're still talking. When I say fall back, that means we don't want to hear your opinion. You are saying, you know what, my opinion is irrelevant in this conversation because I'm not them. So I'm gonna fall back and let them discuss it because I'm not them. I'm not gonna give no opinions or nothing. I'm gonna listen to them. I'm gonna let them speak on it. That's what I'm asking.
Right, put it like this, because I'm not. I guess I gotta change my modes because see, I'm in Pan-African spaces where Black people are just Black people and we just love each other.
Yeah, but
I'm answering. All
right, go.
And we want to see the best for each other, so we give each other constructive criticism, no matter who you are, where you're from. We're all Black. And we give construction. Now, if I'm in a space, so let's say for some crazy reason I'm in FBA space and y'all get triggered because you like to divvy up Black people and I'm not like you and all this other dumb shit. Out of respect for the panel, I was like, you know what? They don't receive what I'm saying as constructive criticism. They see me more adversarial than a white man. I will fall back because I know the conversation is not going to go nowhere. You're not going to take that as constructive criticism. You're going to take that as sabotage. So yes, in particular spaces, yes, I would. So let's say it was like 3-4 more FBA people on here, and for some crazy reason I'm on here. Yes, I wouldn't even say anything because it's not going to go anywhere.
But only if it's more FBA folks on the panel than you. But in general, you're saying that
I like this panel because this panel is diverse. We have people with different ideologies, so we could really hear what everybody is saying. So that's why I am saying. That's why I am here, and I love this panel, and that's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
One more question for everybody. Before everybody jump in. So you're saying that your input depends on who's on the panel and who's giving input, not based on your view of the overall situation. Whereas, like, if you're looking at say Ghanaian people speaking on Ghanaian, that's not going to determine whether or not you give input. It's depending on who's on the panel right now. It's depending on who's on. You know what I'm saying?
There's no such. Well, first thing, there's no such thing as Ghanaian. I think you mean Ghanaian. Number two, I think it's hard for you to comprehend. I think it's hard for you to comprehend what a Pan-African is.
Don't.
So as a Pan-African and people being in Pan-African spaces,
we were doing good, man. We were doing good.
People don't understand. People don't understand these little digs. It's when you start telling niggas it's hard to comprehend. You very passive aggressive.
Right. Yeah, we know exactly what he's saying. That's why we go off.
That's how you take it. That's how you take it. I'm trying to.
Hey, you know G gonna catch it. You know G gonna catch it.
Very passive aggressive. It's very passive aggressive.
Again, I'm not gonna bow down to every.
You ain't gotta bow down.
It's not bowing down. It's just passive aggressive behavior.
Kiss their ass and don't push back. Yes, I'm in your good graces.
I'm
not that dude. I'm not that dude. Anyway, let me answer the question. Hold on, no. Let me answer the question.
No.
I'll repeat it again. When you use the example as Ghana and people of a panel full of Ghanaians, again, if there's a bunch of Ghanaians, that's like they don't want any Caribbeans and not any continental Africans on this panel. And what I'm saying, they're not going to receive. If I'm talking about Ghana, I would not be in that space. It's because they'll find my presence and my input there offensive. So you keep putting up the same examples, keep switching it. You can switch. You keep switching different type of black people, but my answer is going to be the same.
Kofi, you don't think you're offensive in FBA spaces?
Yes, and I'm not even going to say. I'm not even going to say why. We don't know why. Then you're going to get all triggered again.
Okay, so
this is my question. Why does he think that FBA is not?
Please, let me give me a sec. Give me a second.
Okay.
So you don't want to be offensive to Ghanaian spaces, but you are 100%.
No, I did not say that. I said if I'm on the panel with Ghanaians that aren't Pan-Africans that find my presence offensive, I wouldn't be there. But if I am there, I wouldn't say anything because my message wouldn't be received in brotherly love and advice.
But you're
not going to receive my information and my critique of Black Americans as a whole as in being genuine.
Kofi. I came tonight with peace. You know, listen to the playback. But what I'm saying is there is an entitlement that you and a lot of Pan-Africans have when FBA are speaking about our shit, that y'all feel like y'all could just jump in and give y'all 2 cents. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when other folks speaking about this stuff, which I'm sure in the worldwide internet, it's 1,000 spaces out there, 1,000 YouTube channels, there's 1,000 all of these going on, right? Well, all these folks are around the world discussing their stuff in their countries, and y'all Negroes, y'all Black folks in the diaspora, y'all Pan-Africanists, y'all are not in their spaces. You know where y'all
at? Y'all let that go.
No. You know where y'all at?
That's not an ad hominem, but the panel's okay with it.
He called you a Negro.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I did. I was mad. Hold on,
a Negro is ad hominem.
It's your panel. You make the rules, man.
I got mad.
A Negro is ad hominem, nigga.
You got offended by Negro.
Your panel. You make the rules.
Hold on, nigga. Negro is ad hominem.
You got offended.
Let me just understand that. Ad hominem is Negro.
Hey, fellas, I think that we are over time, and this has been a great episode. But
Negro is ad hominem.
Also, Discord.
Tamu didn't go yet.
Y'all gonna keep going in the after show. So let's just end this real quick, so I can alleviate myself of responsibility.
That's crazy.
He gonna go to the after show, and y'all can have this later. Let me relieve myself of responsibility. Really quickly. So with that said, this has been a fun episode. I don't know if it's left more questions than answers, but I do think that we did have a lot of good faith conversation and back and forth and discourse amongst like agreements and disagreements between FBA, Pan-Africanism, XYZ. But again, the lead question is comparing American and immigrants' path in America. Good or a good comparison. It seems like the majority of the panel said no. With that said, at the top you see GH Podcast. GthaKing is the Cash App. To him, that is Johnny J Rock 989 is the Cash App. Sess Majid, a favorite on Unpacked and To Be Fair show. He come with the notepad. He give us the notes. Kofi, Pan African's finest, Pan African's favorite, should I say? Quincy, my second favorite FBA. I'm gonna still give it the FBA trade, but you my second favorite FBA. Old man, second time on the panel. We appreciate you. Fire. Kamu, you ain't get the chime in, but meet us in the chat after show.
Shout out to the motherland.
Shout out to the motherland,
South Africa.
But yeah, so with that said, hey fellas, y'all see inside the private chat, hit the after show. Discord link is in the description. I gave y'all the Cash Apps, super chat if you like.
You post the after show in the Discord too.
Yeah, I'll post it in there. With that said, this has been another great episode of Unpacked. 3 hours of content for y'all. We appreciate y'all. We are here every Wednesday, 9:30 ish. Sometimes it starts at like 9:45, but ish. But with that said, we out. Peace.